What up, though, One Pride? This is the ROTL UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. This is the college football podcast, Dante's Inferno. Sorry about that. Seem to have had some power outage in my area, which knocked everything clean off the internet. So, apologise if you were with us before, but hopefully we are back up and running again. Let me just check that we're all good. Yep. Okay, right, let's crack on. So, as I say, apologies about all that. We will restart. We'd only started on the start of the Week 7 recap anyhow, so we're going to dive straight back in. Yeah, sorry about that, Brent. Don't know what went on there, just the internet went entirely, so apologies. Anywho, Week 7 recap, and as always, we talk about the first game on the schedule as to what is in the show's title. Dante's Inferno. We are, of course, referring to Dante Moore and his Oregon Ducks and the Indiana Hoosiers who came to Eugene, and we're talking about a team looking to break the glass ceiling. We've been doing that a lot in recent weeks, seeing who is legit and who is not. And Indiana, on the back of their fantastic season last year under Curt Cignetti and their huge win over Illinois this year, the ranked team dropping 70 on them. The Oregon Ducks presenting the toughest challenge yet in this young budding program's campaign. And could Curt take them from being a team that can now win, that is pretty good, to a team that can compete with the best in the conference and be great? And boy howdy, did they. Indiana won 30-20 over the Oregon Ducks, and this was just an absolutely fantastic game from start to finish. We did the watch along for the game, so again, thank you to everyone who joined for that. You got to hear the live breakdown of this. One of the best games I've watched in some time in terms of the scoring. As I say, early on in this game, Indiana turned over Oregon on downs right from the very off on this one. Oregon went 7 play, 21 yards, took up nearly 4 minutes off the clock, but they were in a 3rd and 1 situation, got turned away twice. Indiana were able to get a field goal off of the back of this. Niko Radicic, 42-yard field goal. Oregon then had to punt for a second time. They then did force Indiana to punt, though, and then the scoring began. The Ducks threw Dante Moore to Malik Benson. It was a 44-yard absolute humdinger down the field. Completely busted coverage from Indiana's secondary. One of the few bad plays they made all day. He waltzed the thing in for a touchdown, and you kind of did fear for for Indiana. But on the back of it, they came straight back into this game. They went 9 plays, 75 yards, took up 5 minutes off the clock. Roman Hemby, the Maryland transfer, ran it in from 3 yards out to give IU a 10-7 lead. The teams then traded a whole bunch of punts. There was a missed field goal from Oregon as well, which was from about 30 yards out. Bad miss from Atticus Sappington, their kicker. Oregon did eventually get one back, though, to level it up at 10 apiece. But just before the half, Brendan Frank, who was the long-range kicker for the Hoosiers, broke the school record with a 58-yard dime, which would have been good from about 65, to give the Hoosiers a 3-point lead going into the half. They came out in the second half again, forced Oregon to punt. They had to punt themselves, though. Oregon were able to break through and get a field goal. Sappington from 33 yards out to level the score up. But then Indiana put together one of the drives of the game. It went 9 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes. Roman Hemby got his second rushing touchdown of the day to put them 7 up. And going into the fourth quarter, they had the ball. They were 7 up, and you were wondering, can they now see this thing out? And at that point, Fernando Mendoza, who had been perfect on the day, threw a very ill-advised pass not far from his own end zone. It was picked off by Brandon Finney Jr., who housed it from 35 yards out for an interception touchdown. An absolute backbreaker to bring Oregon level at 20 apiece. And you're thinking, is that the end of Indiana's resistance? Will that be the play where everything unravels? But to their credit, I mean, they came out after after the pick six, and they put together a 12-play, 75-yard drive that went over 6 minutes and ended with star wide receiver Elijah Sarrett getting a touchdown reception from 8 yards out. It was tremendous work from Mendoza after what happened. And then Indiana's defense came to play. They picked off Dante Moore twice, either side of themselves, being able to grab another field goal with about 2 minutes to go to put them 10 up. And eventually they turned the ball over on downs at the end of the game, Indiana did, but they were well up at this point. They were just trying to see the game out. Oregon could not get back into it, and the Hoosiers, Ryan, 30-28 winners. And we talk about seeing a complete game from this team. They went into Eugene. They started off well. Their defense was lights out. It was electric. It was amazing. Their 2 wide receivers came to play. Their quarterback 1 came to play. And just every time you thought this might be the old Indiana that's about to collapse, they found another level to their play. And Oregon, at the end of this, you have to say, deservedly lost. And the Hoosiers, they're now not just good, they're now in the great tier.
Yeah, it's one of those where the big players for Oregon on the day did not turn up. Their offensive line was poor. Dante Moore, bless him, bad game, but 6 sacks he ate on the day. He was really uncomfortable. His running game was not working at all. Indiana's defense as a whole was fantastic, like I say, bringing pressure from every single point, doing very well at disrupting everything that Oregon did. On the flip side, though, players like Matateo Uegalele, their dominant guy that's supposed to be able to, one, enforce the run and then get to the quarterback. They've looked him as a thing. Very quiet day from him. The Indiana O-line, which has always been good, managed to keep Oregon's best assets quiet all day and give Mendoza a little bit more time to operate, especially with Hemby as well. It felt like the yardages wasn't too different, but their run game was a little bit more effective in taking pressure off the quarterback. And Dante didn't have that any day, so that led them into those rushed hurry throws that led to some important turnovers. Yeah, Indiana for the whole part, better game, played better, and in the end, especially like say when it was in the fourth quarter, it really mattered. They showed their teeth, and their defense came up big with turnovers that were able to sniff out any chance of a comeback.
Yeah, they were, and it was the way they played. They didn't just, they were dominant in terms of the line of scrimmage for the most part of this. The defensive line was tremendous. I mean, they got 5 sacks on the day, but it was the linebackers where this thing really broke open. Their 3 highest graded players were linebackers, but Isaiah Jones, 3 QB pressures. He had a sack, a quarterback hit, a hurry, 6 tackles, 3 run stops. He had an interception. Rajaya Hardy, he had a sack on the day and 10 tackles, 4 run stops, and a forced fumble. And then Aiden Fisher, their absolute mammoth linebacker. I love him to death. He had a sack as well, 12 tackles, 6 run stops. He was all over the field hunting Dante Moore down, but it was brought up by those front 2 in the defensive tackle room, Tyreek Tucker and Mario Landino. 8 sacks between them before this season started. One's a redshirt sophomore, one's a redshirt freshman. These are 2 young guys, but Mario Landino had a huge sack early on in this game to blow it open, but their ability to open up gaps on the line of scrimmage and to let these linebackers go to work. They brought the corners up as well. We didn't even really mention, like Mikhail Camara, he had 10 pressures on the day, he had a couple of quarterback hits, but relatively quiet by his standards. But, that front 7, he's built into one of the best front 7s in the entire country out of the ball. This is a deadly linebacker room, fronted by a great defensive line, which had to replace most of its parts this year, but they've seamlessly transitioned.
Yeah, it's a defense that, as you say, it's bigger than some of its parts. The defensive linemen are doing really good jobs at being not selfish. They're forcing holes up and knowing that they've got a great cast of reinforcements behind them. One of the best linebacker rooms in the Big Ten, maybe even in the country, that are always buzzing around. Good defensive coordinator as well, that puts his guys in positions to make plays. He knows when to stunt, when to blitz, when to bring guys late, when to show pressure and drop out. a lot of things you can do with those guys there. They're very multifaceted, and they are the heart of the team. When the defensive linemen can't get home, they're always kind of mopping up where they can.
Yeah, and then on their offense, guys, as you mentioned, we came to play. So first of all, the quarterback, I know he had the pick six in there, but Mendoza on the day, 20 of 31, it was 65%, 215 yards, touchdown and an interception. A lot of people will remember the pick six, but, for him to throw that and then to lead them on a 12-play drive all the way down the field and just shake that off, water off a duck's back. And I know he was well protected, but he used his two main receivers. He never got nervous. He never let the occasion get to him. Like, he played like a potential quarterback one in a draft in one of the most hostile atmospheres you'll come across. Because, you have to say, Eugene was fucking loud for a good portion of this. It's one of the worst things a quarterback can have. But, my God, did he look good, even if the stats don't say he did.
Yeah. I think one of the assets I look for in a quarterback is, after a bad play or a bit of a disaster, like what happens on the next drive, how do they shake it off? How mentally stable are they? Do they collapse? Do they go into a shell? Do they go into panic reserve mode where they refuse to make errors but then don't take any risks? But no, he came out, like I say, showed a lot of maturity, went straight to work on a long, consistent drive that took a lot of time, ended in a big result. And as rightly so, you're seeing Mendoza not just shoot up draft boards, like suddenly, like you say, he's in the top 5, top 10. And like I say, a year ago, no one was talking about him on day 2 or day 3. Like, he's kind of come out of absolutely nowhere, kind of guy that someone's probably going to absolutely fall in love with.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see why here now. Like, between him and Moore, this was an audition for both of them, and one quarterback crumbled. And yes, he was under a lot more pressure, but you've still got to look good in your environment and do what you can. And Mendoza certainly separated himself here. Obviously, that running back room is 4 deep. Hemby, he was only running at 3.7 yards per carry, but 2 touchdowns, got the hard yards to get them. We kept saying Indiana got into 2nd and short, 3rd and short, never really got put into 3rd and long situations where Oregon could tee off on Mendoza, and he did the hard yards. Kalen Black had 7 for 31 yards as well. He was going at 4.4 yards per carry, but then we have to talk about the receivers. You talk about an underrated pair of receivers. Elijah Sarrett and Amar Cooper Jr. might just be the most underrated duo in the country. Cooper went 7 for 58, but there was the one touchdown drive where he had 3 big chain-moving receptions where they used him all over the field. And, he did all the nitty-gritty work. And then Sarrett, 8 for 121 and a touchdown. He is one of the most disrespected receivers in the entire country. Like, it's not just all about this defense. They have playmakers and offense, but the 2 big guys at receiver both showed up when they needed to most, and both should get a lot more draft love than they do.
Yeah, Sarrett has been a very consistent figure all year. He's clearly been the head and shoulders one guy. Like I say, Mendoza trusts him with his life. He's had very good outings most of the season. He's pretty comfortable with a good, fairly expanded route tree. He's pretty comfortable on the outside, on the inside. He can work around. And then you always need that complementary guy in Cooper that can help take the pressure off him. Can kind of, like say, if he's getting a bit too much love, capitalise on it, especially when you get like man coverage. If you could just give them straight up guys and, like say, they focus heavily on Elijah, then that's where Omar can do his best stuff. Just chipping in, moving the chains, and like I say, at least keeping a defence honest and giving them more than one thing to think about. So yeah, a great pair. And I think Elijah will do really well, don't you, when it comes to draft season. I think he'll be someone that a lot of players will be looking for at the bowl games and especially the combine, where he'll be able to kind of make his name and get a bit closer to that upper echelon of receiver name.
Yeah, absolutely. They all came to play there. Brent goes, biggest surprise for that game for me was the Hoosiers' defense. They're legit. Yeah, they're all over the field. The safeties have now 7 interceptions between the 2 of them. You've got D'Angelo Pons at corner, who's one of the best corners in the country. You've got a great pair of edge rushers there. The question was D-tackle after Carpenter and the other one left to the draft last year, but in Landino and Tyreek Tucker, So they've got a pairing that have now got 9 sacks on the year already from defensive tackle, which makes Mikhail Kamara's life easier. And they're just so complementary, and they've got depth there as well. And they've elevated a lot of these guys this year because a lot of them went to the draft. So, it's absolutely tremendous what they've done with that defense, and it held Oregon in check outside of the one big splash play to Benson. And then there was one really big run from Jordan Davidson, who does look legit, by the way, the true freshman. He had 8 carries for 59 yards at 7.4 yards a carry. I think one of them was about 30 yards. He looks really good, but outside of that, Oregon rushed for 116 yards at 4.8 yards per carry, but take the big Davidson run out there, it dilutes down to about 4. And then receiving, they were just able to get absolutely nothing going. Again, the one big pass to Benson was the receiving leader on the day. He had 1 reception. That was it. Outside of that, there was nothing. Gary Bryant got 4 for 37. Noah Whittington 3 for 15. Decorian Moore showed flashes with 4 for 39, but they just couldn't get going really whatsoever. Ryan, really, they kind of relied on Indiana to get their points. Obviously, with the turnover, you got 20 points. 7 of them came from that interception. Then you sort of turnovers in dodgy positions as well. It just, I don't know, that offensive line, I mentioned 4 of Indiana's offensive line are homegrown, and the other's Coogan, who's come from Notre Dame, been a starter there. 3 of Oregon's lines are transfers, and 1's a first-year starter, and their one holdover, Laluli, at centre, did not have a good game. It was clear to see which offensive line's homegrown and knows what it's doing, and the other made of a bunch of transfers who have just not clicked yet.
No. A couple of weeks in the season now, and it still feels like the offensive line, some of my opponents were like Isaiah World. Before the season started, like the stock in him, like say, was insane. People were like, surefire first round kid, because like say the frame, the talent, the IQ, like say what it could be at the next level, the potential. But he's shown a lot of flaws to this point. Like I say, he did not have a good game this weekend. A lot of people are cooling on him pretty quickly that he does not look ready for the next jump. But other guys in the line as well that are also struggling at their positions. And yeah, I think Oregon's big issue is lack of run game. I say you take away those inflated players and the yards per carry, and that it just plummets. And it's just not helping at all the quarterback that is still very new. Like I say, he's still basically just brand new to this offense, and he's still finding his feet and trying to click, and you really do want to be able to help him when he's dropping back and, like I say, give him a good cushion pass pro. But with no run game, a defense doesn't have to respect it. Like I say, they can kind of just get after him, and they can test an O-line, and we saw that. And their O-line, it failed the test this weekend gone.
Well, he was throwing at 75% on the year. He was down at 61 for this, but the yards per attempt was just 5.5. Like, they weren't throwing much downfield.
Quick throws. Cause I guys in his face getting the ball out quickly, can't move the ball downfield.
Screens to your running backs, which Indiana just kept blowing up. Like, it was dominance at the line. Even the corners and the safety were coming up and beating the guys at the line of scrimmage and blowing these plays up. It was absolutely tremendous from Indiana, and they learn. You remember that Ohio State game last year? They kind of got froze in the moment. They'd beaten a bad Michigan side, and you think, oh, we're winning a lot of games, but this just shows the sign of the maturity there now. This team looks a lot more mature. It looks like it's a team that's good every year, despite losing people to the draft. Like, it's not just a few playmakers they've got lucky with. They've shown they can consistently develop these guys now, and you look at the schedule, I mean, there is nothing to stop this team not only going to the playoffs, but it's ranked number 3 in the country now. There is nothing to say this team can't go to the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State and cause the mother of all upsets and go through as a 1 pick. The world is their oyster now, and if I'm a Big Ten team, every team in the Big Ten should fear them now. They will not want to play them.
Nope. Like you say, they've got over some of their biggest hurdles right now. You look at their remaining schedule, and nothing really should stand in their way. I mean, there's one game. Okay, you got Nittany Lions, but like I said, they're reeling right now. But realistically, they should breeze through everyone else. And like I say, if they get there with, like I said, if they just lose to Penn State and win out from this point, they've booked the championship place. They'll be them. No one should want to play them right now. And then you look at the outside factors, and maybe it's a final swan song for Signetti. Like I say, he's going to want to go out on a high. Like I say, it really is the recipe for a potential deep playoff run.
It is, absolutely. And talking of playoffs, Oregon are in bother now because they've lost their big ranked matchup against Indiana. The win over Penn State now doesn't mean that much because Penn State have hurdled out the top 25. That's not a quality loss anymore. And you look at their schedule: Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, USC, Washington. I mean, outside of what USC do this weekend against Notre Dame, there could potentially be no quality wins left
USC
on the schedule for them.
By the time they play them.
That's what I mean. Oregon now might be hoping for a lot of other teams to lose. Their path to the playoffs is not complete because there's no quality win there anymore.
No, they're going to be scraping in potentially in the playoffs in a wild card. They could have to play in the first round, which you don't really want to have to do because, like I say, depending on, like I say, who the G5 school is, that could make life very difficult for you.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's an extra game that you don't want.
No, not at all. You don't want to. Duncan Stewart's in the building. I hope you're doing well. He goes, USC is good. They are. A big game for them this weekend. It's the Shillelagh, so against a team who quite simply has to win if they were to go into the playoffs. So USC are in for a massive challenge this weekend. We'll see how good they really are, but they have looked good this year so far. But yeah, for Indiana, kudos, tremendous, well done. That was one of the best performances I've seen in some time, and it was completely dominating in its style. And yeah, they're legit now. And that's absolutely wonderful to see. So well done to Indiana. Moving on to other games because there was a lot. And ranked teams. This was not a good weekend to be a ranked team. I think we lost 6 all together. But we'll move over to the other big rivalry game that happened. And we wondered about the status of John Mattia for the Oklahoma Sooners. They were rushing him back from hand surgery just 2 weeks ago, trying to get ready for the big rivalry game. Oklahoma, of course, ranked 6 before this one, coming up against the Texas team, which has suffered losses of its own and was unranked before this weekend. They were really down and out. Oklahoma bought Mattia back. It was a game time decision. They put him in there and probably wishing
terrible idea
they hadn't at this point. He threw 20 of 38 for 170 yards and 3 interceptions on the day, and they were not good throws either in a game that was incredibly close and small scoring for a long time. This stuff was just dominated by field goals. All there was in the first half was 3 field goals, 2 for Oklahoma, 1 for Texas. Oklahoma's were from 42 and 41. Texas's were from 22, but the field chart for the first half, it went field goal for Oklahoma, punt, 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 Oklahoma's first interception. Texas then missed a field goal. Oklahoma then got their second field goal. Texas got their first field goal. Second interception thrown by Oklahoma, and then end of half. It was tough watching. It was a very defense-based first half. And then as soon as the second half came out, Texas really took it into gear. They had a nearly 7.5 minute touchdown drive out the half. Arch Manning had a touchdown pass to DeAndre Moore to give them the 4-point lead. Then Mattia threw his back-breaking third interception of the day. And Oklahoma's defense by this point had just been out on the field for so long. Texas were then able to get a field goal to extend the lead to 7. And then the killer punt return from Texas. Grayson Miller hiked it down the field. Ryan Niblett returned it for 75 yards. Wonderful special teams play from Texas there to extend the lead out to 2 scores. Oklahoma got turned over on downs twice, and then Texas were able to get a field goal to stat pad this out one a bit. Mason Shipley from 40, and Texas absolutely dominated the Red River. Arch Manning had one of his better days. He was 21 of 27, even though it was just for 160 yards and a touchdown. Quintravion Wisner finally came to the show. 22 carries for 94 yards, just over 4 yards per carry. Did just enough. I mean, you don't feel any better about Texas after this one, right? This is more just Mateer and his picks. His hand just did not look right at all. They rushed him back too soon. They'd have been best off going with the backup, and all the turnovers just put way too much pressure on Oklahoma's defense. Eventually they buckled, and a good special teams play later, and that's all she said.
Yeah, as you say, Texas ain't back. Texas weren't good, but they just benefited from the fact that the front office at OU made a terrible decision letting John play. Sometimes you've got to learn to protect a player from themselves. As you say, every play, he was looking at his hand, he was shaking it. It was painful. The lack of velocity, like I said, it was just, I think, a general distraction. He was distracted in the pocket. The interceptions were, like I said, pretty much all bad throws that he would not normally make. He was not comfortable at all. I can't believe they did not put in Michael Hawkins at like half. It's kind of crazy. Because you say Texas totally there for the taking. Honestly, they were not good. Arch was okay. Arch made no mistakes, but he didn't play well. But compared to other outings, he was perfectly fine. As you say, finally Wisner had a decent day running the ball. It was the fact that their big guys turned up on defense. Taff finally showing that he is one of the best DBs in the nation. Got a sack. Simons finally showing that, like I say, he is that phenom edge rusher. 2.5 sacks on the day. He was a pain in the ass for that OU offensive line all day. Like I say, and then a couple of field goals, and then one big play to blow a game up, and that's all it takes on special teams. And they had no answer after the return touchdown. And like I say, it was just a very limp day on offense. But yeah, I'd love to see this game back with Michael Hawkins in it, because he does not end 23-6 to Texas. I don't know if Oklahoma win, but it's a damn sight closer than that, I think.
Yeah.
He gives them a much better chance to win the game purely out of just looking more comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't make the bad decisions, I don't think, that John did.
No, I think.
And now I wonder as well, like, how far has he set himself back now? Does Mateer look bad this week because he's taken unnecessary punishment?
Yeah, it's you
Could
think
be
you've got to
costly
sit him
if
down.
that hand isn't right.
Yeah, you've got to, and to be honest, they did put him under some pressure as well, and they could tell. I think they just kind of sold out on the pass rush a little bit, and was just like, okay.
Oh, they knew, like, so every time they hit him
mistakes
down, he came up, like you say, he was wincing.
Yeah, he's going to make mistakes. He's all over the place. So yeah, go get him, and they did. And it's bad for Oklahoma. Obviously, they're still in the SEC at the minute. They've lost the one game. They're still ranked 14th. It can still be a good year, but I think you have to rest him for a little bit after this, and give him, because he didn't look right, and you don't want to destroy his confidence either. And so good win for Texas. They needed it. I still don't think it means they're any better, though. I don't think it says anything.
You look at
about
Oklahoma's schedule, though, and I think they're doomed.
They're going to be in some bother.
It's brutal, like you say, because how long can you rest him for?
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's very tough. I don't
like
know.
I say Texas, it's a weird one, like I say, because I don't feel any better about them than I did last week.
No. I don't either. We'll wait and see. We'll see what they come up against the fully healthy opposition, and then see what he's like. It might do wonder for Archer's confidence, though, so we'll see. But yeah, Texas destroy Oklahoma in the Red River and ruin their unbeaten start to the season. In terms of other ranked teams that went down, and talking about quarterbacks who had a good day and overcoming adversity early on, there's new potential star quarterback in the ACC, Ryan, and he goes by the name of Mason Heinschel, and he plays for the Pittsburgh Panthers. They benched their longtime starter Eli Holstein. He's a true freshman who's come in to this side, going to Florida State and playing in Tallahassee. Again, not a good environment to go into. It's your first ever road game as a true freshman, and there was a period in this game where he threw back-to-back interceptions and you really feared for him, but the young man showed a lot of calm and composure to bring his team back from the brink. Pittsburgh win 34-31 over the ranked Seminoles, although they were only 25th after 2 losses. But Mason Heinschel, 21 of 29 for 321 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as those interceptions. He was the leading rusher as well with 64 yards on 16 carries. But the stat of the day, Desmond Reed, the young, well, the small, diminutive running back, which we know is a pure running back who loves to run the football, 8 receptions for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they were throwing deep shots down the field at him. I don't know what they cooked up in Pitt with Narduzzi, but it worked. And you know, Pitt were down 21-14 at the half, but Florida State were absolutely turgid after the break. Pittsburgh came right out and scored twice overside of a field goal from Florida State, and eventually got to 2 minutes left in the game, and Pittsburgh were 9 up. It was 33-24. Castellanos had a big ass pass downfield to Mark Danzi for 58 yards, and you know, Florida State did have a chance to get back. They tried the squib kick, didn't work. Win by 3 for Pitt, but this Mason Heinschel, right, he looks legit for a true freshman on the road. His first ever start on the road, to throw 2 picks in a row and to show the mental fortitude to come back from that and lead his team to what is a big victory for them, because they've not been good at the start of this year, Pitt. They're 4-2, but they were 3-2 going into this. We might have a new star on our hands in the ACC.
Yeah, and I mean, first of all, it's terrible news for Eli Holstein. It kind of feels like he's going to have to enter the portal. He'll have some. I think he's got a red shirt.
Probably.
He's got a bad injury. I'd imagine that seems time done in Pitt, other than the injury. I think he kind of, like, say, for the good or the bad, I just give Heinschel the rest of the season now and say, Eli, like, sorry, Puddy, you're going to enter the portal. I said, but yeah, we saw the good, we saw bad, we saw some ugly, but in the end, he showed a level of maturity for a freshman that was able again to overcome the mistakes. Like I say, he also looked pretty good on the ground as well. Scrambled very nicely, good 64 yards rushing, 4 yards a carry, so he was able to extend a few plays of his drives and pick up some crucial 3rd, 4th down conversions. So as a whole collective, had a very good day for a young man, like I say, under a Florida State team that put him a lot of pressure in the first half, came out in the second. And then on the flip side, I mean, I don't really know what to think of the Seminoles anymore. Like I say, they blow very hot, very cold. Like I say, 3-3 kind of just sums up their season perfectly. Castellanos has been either great or very underwhelming. You never really get much somewhere in the middle. He's either one end of the scale. Like I said, this week he was actually pretty good for the most part. Played a pretty good, clean game. But yeah, in the end, he wasn't able to rely on his defense to keep the Panthers out, unfortunately.
Yeah, they were not indeed, but that's a great win for Pittsburgh and gets their season back on track. The Seminoles without a win in the ACC in 385 days on the back of this.
8 losses in a row in the ACC, is it?
Yeah. And they've got Stanford and Wake Forest coming up, so I think Norvell's in a bit of bother. If you don't beat them, well, I think Mike Norvell's in a bit of bother.
Trouble, and if they don't win them,
I think he needs to win them both. I think if he loses either one of those, like Stanford and Wake Forest are not good football teams right now. You've got
Clemson, BT, NC State and Florida. So like I said, that you've got 2 layups now before a very hard start end to the year.
You do. So you've got to get your house in order.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you look at this, they're going to probably finish with a losing record. Like I say, that could be curtains.
Yeah, you've got to get your house in order and you've got to get it in quick. I mean, you've got a couple of good playmakers on that team in the secondary. Earl Little had another good game. Edwin Joseph did as well, the safety tandem. But outside of that, it's very tough. Very tough going indeed. There's not a lot of talent on it, especially draft talent. But they need to bounce back quick, and they're going to have to against Stanford this week. In terms of other ranked teams we lost, Iowa State, their season has gone sour quickly. Loss 24-17 to Colorado, and the injuries are mounting up on that team. they've lost most of their secondary at this point. Jontez Williams has torn his ACL. The hybrid corner, they've got the one that was meant to be coming to the draft this year. Hang on, I've got him because Jeremiah Cooper, he's also torn his ACL.
Say that's big that's the draft big. Like say that means probably come back to college, or if you don't have any eligibility.
Yeah, it showed because Caden Salter threw for 242 yards, 2 tutties. Like he's throwing on a weak secondary. And this is where it's kind of coming apart from them. Becht didn't have his best game. 17 of 32 for 211 and an interception. But Abu Sama had a massive day on the ground. 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. First time we've seen him unleash his potential superstar status
it's odd law
in a
on
while.
Terrible day as his best career day.
Yeah. But you can tell the Cyclones are struggling. A lot is based on that secondary being locked down.
Because
the D-line's...
this year.
The D-line's never been the... It's not been the best. You've got Dominique Orange there, but the edge room is young, and for the most part, they're struggling. It relies on that secondary, and they've just not had it. And you can tell they're really struggling without all these guys. You've lost most of... And that's going on what you lost in the draft last year as well. You've got Trey Bell starting now, who's the Lindenwood transfer, and he's good, but he's playing for Lindenwood last year. There's a big difference between all these guys they've homegrown and some FCS guys they're kind of throwing out there right now.
Yeah, as you say, it's the worst time of the season, but some of their positions, they really are, like I said, they're at the bottom of the depth chart. And yeah, 5-2, very precarious position now. Season fully hangs in the balance. Another loss, like say in conference, ends any hopes of a playoff. There's no chance of a Big Ten title. You cannot get to this Big 12 championship with 3 losses. Right now it's poised, it's going to be impossible.
No,
it makes you wonder as well. Like say, I mean, there's a lot of chatter about Matt Campbell as well. If the season ends, like say, and they do kind of like tail off towards the end, does he depart?
Yeah, does
He's linked to the Penn State job. I've seen his name floated.
He is. You've got to wonder what's going on there.
He by right could say as well. He's probably earned it for his previous work at other schools as well.
Yeah. I think it now might be the time. Now feels like the time he'll jump ship because they're going backwards in the Big 12 and it's so competitive. So yeah, it's a shame, and the Spectacle, we'll have to see what goes on. But their season has gone south quick. They need to start winning again very soon. But with all those secondary injuries, it's going to be tough. We lost the number 15 seed as well. Michigan on the road to USC. We live streamed part of this game. USC 31, Michigan 13, and we wondered where Bryce Underwood was at in his development. And you know what? I'm going to give him kudos. I thought he looked pretty decent in this game, but the Michigan play calling was absolutely atrocious in this one. There were people talking about it, and their first 2 drives were punts, and there were just some really weird play calls. The first drive of the game, they threw all 3 times, and you're like, why are you not using Justice Haynes? And this was after USC scored an opening drive touchdown, so you're already down 7-0. You didn't use Justice Haynes on your first drive. They did cough up a fumble on the second drive to give themselves good field position. They started using him, but they had to punt. But then on their third drive, they came in and they finally started looking good. So Jacoby Lane got the first touchdown for USC as opening drive. It was really good. Went 6 minutes. Michigan had no answer for them whatsoever. But then Bryce Underwood found Donovan McCulley. It was a really good pass in a narrow window into the end zone from him, to be fair, to level it up. But then USC went right back down the other end. Took them 2 minutes, well, just over 2 minutes to go the length of the field. And once again, Makai Lemon makes catches that no human being should be able to make. There were a couple on this drive, but he got yet another touchdown in what is becoming, feels like a Heisman season for the kid. And USC went in 14-7 up at the break, and then afterwards, Michigan just didn't show up in the second half, and it turned into the King Miller show, and I'm not gonna lie, I've not really heard much about this King Miller so far. All I know is he's bloody good. 18 carries, 158 yards and a touchdown. He literally blew this game open. He had a 15-yard touchdown run to start the second half, but he ripped off a huge one just before that. There was no more scoring in the third quarter. Michigan's drive chart in the second half went punt, Bryce threw an interception. They didn't get a touchdown with 10 minutes to go. Bryce Underwood to Andrew Marsh. It was a 69-yard touchdown throw, that was, to bring it within 11. But then after that, they were turned over on downs, and there was an interception to end the game as well. And USC put it to bed with 4 minutes to go. Brian Jackson had a 29-yard touchdown run as USC put down 240 yards of rushing on the Wolverines, who just looked a little out of sorts, right? But once again, USC, they've had questions asked about them in big game scenarios, and although Michigan are not the creme de la creme of what they are right now, USC put down a statement in this. They didn't really let Michigan hang with them. They put pressure on the young QB, forced him into mistakes. Haynes was still good, but they did enough to turn them away when they needed to. And yeah, Michigan have a ways to go, let's just say. Yeah, this was their marker, and they didn't pass.
Yeah, I mean, we said, I think it started season, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, what happens when a team stops Justice Haynes, and Bryce Underwood is asked to be the guy. And we saw that finally, like I say, a team finally slowed Haynes down, kind of halted him altogether. Like I say, right now, he was on an absolute tear, and the Trojans' run defense, to be fair, was terrific. Like I said, the play calling wasn't great, and they kind of, I mean, they bailed on Haynes way too early. Like I say, the play calling, as you say, was not good. They were not put in good positions to run the ball. But yeah, Bryce did the best he could. Like I say, he was under a ton of pressure all day. Like I say, really struggled. Not having that big outlet. He's got a hell of a way to go. And like I say, for me, yeah, we're not going to see much development from him this year. I think it's going to be the sophomore year where I really judge him and, like I say, see what he learns over the off-season. But yeah, credit to the Trojans. Each week they kind of have answered a new question or a new doubt about me. Like I say, they've got one of the best. I mean, Bishop Fitzgerald right now, one of the best players in the whole country, is on 5 interceptions. They've got a star safety. As you say, Mekhi Lemon. Yeah, firmly got to be in the Heisman race, proving, like you say, that he is in that upper echelon of player. He's going to be a serious splash as a rookie in the NFL. Mavis doing well. But unfortunately, like I say, it came at a loss. I read Wayman Jordan, season-ending injury. And they lost another running back as well. So King, he's just a true sophomore. He will now be the lead back to try and lead them all season.
I mean, he looked good. He looked good, though, King Miller. Like, there's all the King jokes you can make. He looked absolutely tremendous. Brent brings up a point. Michigan's tackling was atrocious. PFF's got him with 15 missed tackles in this one. I'm willing to bet it was about double that. It's the fundamentals have been so poor from them, and there were so many times they could have made negative plays. I felt like I was repeating myself on the stream, like missed tackle. They were getting hits in the backfield, and then the plays were going for 7-8 yards, 10 yards more than they should have done. Mekhi Lemon was just, no one could really touch him. Again, I think Bryce looked very good given the circumstances, but this Michigan defense gave him absolutely nothing. They only got a pick because Maeva made one of the worst throws you'll ever see in your life, when he should have just thrown. He was running out of bounds and then just threw it back into the end zone when USC were about to score. I love Maeva. He was perfect in this game almost, apart from that one pass. He looked tremendous, but
makes you wonder
that's all they got.
What happens with Sherrone Moore at the end of the season? Is he out of his depth? Was this a mistake? Do you pull the plug on him after a year?
I don't know.
It feels like there's going to be a big question to ask. It feels like the fan base, they're turning on him, I think.
The offensive line just looks a bit suspect. I mean, Sprague...
I mean, the D-line as well, like you say, the draft is just... They've not replenished it, have they?
No.
But they've never done it.
Sprague looks good at right tackle, but for the rest of it, it just looked a bit
their trenches are severely lacking, because, like I said, the league has poached all their talent.
Yeah. Benny's been struggling on the D line. Like, he was meant to be the next guy up, Benny, after Graham had gone. He's not really been doing his job.
5+ star Carter Matthews that's currently committed to Michigan. I mean, they need him to stay committed. He has got to get to this school because, like I say, they're lacking pass rush right now.
Yeah.
But like I say, that's a long time away in the future. What are they doing to get to the QB now?
Yeah. No sacks in this game for Michigan at all.
Think what may have been under that much pressure.
No, they had 6 pressures the entire game where you interspersed that. I mean, to be honest, USC only had 9, but they had 4 sacks on the day.
Their efficiency was just through the roof. 4 out of 9 is great.
Bishop Fitzgerald, like I say, sack, interception. It kills me because at NC State he was that guy, and everyone's just like, "Oh my God, he's a good player." It's like, no, he's been a very good player. Oh, and for USC, 5 missed tackles. Just goes to show technique and bits like that. But on USC's side, Makai Lemon is an alien. I mean, some of the catches he makes, he has absolutely no... There was one where at the bottom of the screen, it looked like he was about halfway into the opposition sideline. He's caught and you're like, that's a great catch, but there's no way he's caught it in play. And like, he dragged both feet down to get this
Catch
damn
on Sundays,
thing.
not just Saturdays. Like,
yeah, that he does it with 2 feet. He is absolutely incredible.
I'm convinced now Makai Lemon's going before John Tyson.
Yeah, I think so, and it's not against Jordan, but
No,
I just think
there's maybe the things Lemon does that
no one else can do. Yeah. I don't think any other receiver like Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, I don't think any of them can do.
I think Makai Lemon could be like a top 5 pick. Like you say, someone's gonna
fall for him. Someone who wants a game-changing receiver will take him, even though he's a bit on the smaller side. He plays like he's 6'6". And he's like 5'10", 5'11", something like that. I believe he's not the greatest. He's not the biggest in the world. But USC look good. Now they've got the Shillelagh this week, which is going to be a lot bigger for them. So we'll see where they're at. But this was a good warm up for them. Brent goes, agreed, Ryan. He's raw and can't wait to see what he does next year already. Yeah, he's going to need time, and he's going to need receivers as well. It didn't look like he had a lot to throw to in there. I wasn't enamoured with
the... Michigan, I'm going to be recruiting, like, say, the Penn State receivers that decommit.
Yeah.
And the Michigan State decommits. They've had decommits as well recently. They need to be going after these receivers hard. They're currently at Big Ten schools.
Yeah, I know he's throwing to... So Marsh is a true freshman. That Andrew Marsh who's in there. I think it's his first year. He had, 140 yards in this, so he's potentially got a guy there with him. He's the outside receiver for Michigan. He looked good. Outside of that, there's nothing, and Klein looks terrible, which hurts me to say because we were really big on him going into the year, but the tight ends are not contributing the way that they should. But anywho, a long way to go for Michigan, and we'll see with USC. In terms of other ranked teams who went down, and it's there were 3 more. We lost number 21, and Ryan's going to sit there with some degree of not degree of satisfaction, but he finally called it. Arizona State finally lose, the number 21 ranked team in the nation. They lost 42-10 to Utah. You said it was going to happen, and maybe with a bit of glee that Devin Dampier had one of his best games. 3 rushing touchdowns, 120 yards. He only threw 7 completed passes for 104 yards, but as soon as Sam Levitt was ruled out of this and it went to Jeff Sims, you warned me. I didn't listen. He was 18 of 40 for 90 yards. Got sacked 5 times.
Sam Levitt plays this game. They still lose.
Mm.
And it's still not close. Levitt isn't changing that game because they could not run the ball. Utah stopped Raleek Brown, one of the better running backs in the country. And in the end, they just nullified them. I'm going to say Utah are legit. I say ASU, plenty to worry about. Sam Levitt, as of yesterday, still got the boot on his right foot. Day to day, but this is the season. This week right here. Like say we've got Iowa State, where a loss, Arizona season's on the line.
Yeah, Texas.
Like say Utah, Holy War here. Utah right now are a front runner. They're definitely a playoff team right now.
They look good.
Looks great. The D line, like say the defense, everyone looks great. Smith Snowden, It's one of the best corners in the country right now. There's just talent everywhere. I like to say, I'm going to talk about one later, but O-line, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's good.
Dampier picked the right school
Yeah.
when he saw that O-line, what it can do for him.
Yeah, and Dampier is going to be on everybody's lips when it comes to quarterbacks. When it comes to dual threat quarterbacks, he's going to be the guy. He looked exactly that way at New Mexico. He's already settled in the Utah team, and he's going to have a wonderful chance in Provo this week to really cement himself amongst the guys who are going to explode out of nowhere. I feel sorry for Jordan Tyson. He was targeted, out of those 40 throws from Jeff Sims, he was targeted 17 times. He got 8 catches. You figure that's probably at least a third more if Levitt's throwing to him, but they tried to get to him, they just couldn't get it going at all. In terms of other ranked ones, we had 2 more ranked teams go down, but it's because they were all ranked fixtures. Starting off, when I can get there, with Illinois. So we talk about Indiana, who proved themselves to be a team that's ready to take a step in the next direction. Illinois proved they were a team that was going back in the other direction, in that they were complete and utter frauds at home to Ohio State, beaten 34-16. A lot was made about Luke Altmaier's record at home. He got like 17 touchdown passes in a row without throwing an interception, and then he went on to throw an interception to start this one. But Illinois were a bit feisty early on, but Ohio State dominated this game from start to finish. CJ Donaldson had one of his better games, 2 touchdown runs. Julian Sayin was efficient, 20 of 27 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Illinois, they actually had more offensive yards on the day, but 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, an interception, bad sloppy play. It counted for 9-point turnover margin, which is 18 points all told, and they lost by 18 points, which goes to show where they're at. I mean, they did get 70 dropped on them by Indiana, so I don't think we were thinking of them as a front runner maybe as much, but they were ranked in this. They were at home. They had a chance to show they were better than they were, right? But they've been disappointing this year. We expected much better of this team, which returned its entire offensive line, a good quarterback, some good running backs, just had a receiver issue. It's usually got a good defense. This has just not gone well for Bielma this year.
Nope. It's another team that they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They put themselves in a position where the likes of me and you, we invest stock in them, and we're like, okay, maybe they're ready to finally mix it with the big boys. And then, like you say, they get their big test of the year. The measuring stick comes to town, and yeah, if you lose the turnover margin by 3 and give up 4 sacks to Ohio State, you don't stand a chance. The yardage it don't mean anything, because the negative plays and the turnovers. Julian Sayin is a young man. If you're going to give him the field with short yardage 3 times, the kid's going to punish you. And like I say, he's still learning his trade. Like I say, and then their offense, like I say, the defense, that Ohio State defense, once again, just keeps reloading, just full of absolute menaces. That linebacking core behind that D-line, it's ferocious. And yeah, Altmaier didn't stand out. Like I say, he did everything he could, but asking him to throw 44 times, that's a lot against a good secondary. And yeah, he was going to make mistakes and crumble.
Yeah, absolutely did. I mean, Caden Curry continues his amazing season. Another sack for him. Arvell Reese is the name on everybody's minds at the minute. 2 sacks for him from that middle linebacker spot.
I was looking at mocks, I kept seeing his name, and I was like, who's that?
Yeah, but he's in like the top 10 of mock drafts now, Arvell Reese is. There's teams clamouring over themselves to get a look at him, and you think you lose all that in your Ohio State linebacker room next year, and then just he's there, Sonny Styles is there, and you're like, well, hang on, they've lost talent, but it feels like there's been no drop-off at all. Sonny Styles had another wonderful game, 14 tackles for him. He's just stat padding this year.
Did you see a mock where he goes to the Lions at 25 overall?
I wouldn't say no. I know we don't really need a linebacker, but just purely from
we do. Like, if you think about free agency, we do.
Well, yeah, if Alex goes,
Alex, Jack, like I say, I think Malcolm's a free agent.
He is, yeah. Depends how he comes
back.
There
some turnover. I looked at that and I thought, oh, I kind of love it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. at all for thinking that. Brent goes, I thought Illinois' defense would be much better. There is talent on that roster. Yeah, I think maybe it's time for a change. I think Bielma maybe has passed his sell-by date.
As far as he can get them.
Yeah, I think Signetti and Indiana are resetting a lot of expectations for Big Ten. There's a lot of mid-teams which have just coasted along for years because there's been bottom feeders like Northwestern and Indiana and teams like that who've kind of propped them up and made them look good. Now Indiana have made that jump right to the top of the conference. Teams are going, well, hang on, if they can do it, why can't we do it?
They have a succession plan as well, because like I said, Altmaier's gone.
Yeah.
It's year 5. The eligibility, from what I can see, is probably up.
And he's probably the best QB you're going to have in a long time.
Is anybody ready to step into his shoes right now?
Yeah, probably the best QB you're going to have in a long time. So, we'll see with that one. And then the final ranked team that went down, and the one I'm more disappointed in, because they had a measuring stick come to town, and that measuring stick was there to be twatted, and they let them get off with it. Missouri against Alabama. Alabama 27, Missouri 24. One of the best running backs in the country, but we wondered this was going to be the day when Bo Pribula was going to get his first test. Obviously, how Penn State would love him right now with Jewellagh been out for the year. And, I mean, things looked good early on. They had an opening drive where they absolutely wrecked Alabama, and Pribula to the massive tight end Norfleet for 26 yards for a touchdown. You're like, okay, Missouri have come to play here. They're looking pretty good. But then Alabama hit straight back, which hurt hard. They had a 6-minute drive of their own, and Ty Simpson orchestrated a very good drive. And Kevin Riley, he had a touchdown reception from 6 yards out. So both teams with an opening drive, touchdown. Then Missouri's drive chart went 3 plays, 6 yards, punt, 6 plays, 14 yards, punt, 3 plays, 2 yards, punt, and then end of half, which went 10 plays for 57 yards, but they ran out of time. In between, Alabama had a second touchdown. Ty Simpkins to Isaiah Horton, who's having a hell of a year himself, from 16 yards out for the touchdown. And then Connor Talley had a 46-yard field goal to put Alabama 17-7 up. As time expired, Missouri got a walk-off field goal, so it was 17-10 at the half. And then again, they came out in the second half, and they were tremendous. Alabama, they forced a fumble on the first play of the half, turned it over, and then 3 plays later, they were in the end zone. Bo Pribula had a touchdown run from 5 yards out to bring it to 17-all, and you're thinking, okay, you've got them here. They forced Alabama to punt again. But then their own offensive woes set in. They punted, they went 3 plays, 13 yards and punted. Alabama tacked on a field goal to go 3 up with 9 seconds left in the third quarter. But then it all fell apart. Interception, Pribula threw the first of his 2. Then they turned it over on downs. They went 4 plays, just 9 yards, couldn't convert short yardage. Either side of Alabama missing a field goal. A pretty easy one as well by their standards, and then they were eventually made to pay with 3 minutes left. Ty Simpson found Daniel Hill, it was from 1 yard out, and gave Alabama a 10-point lead. In fairness to Missouri, they did get the touchdown back. They went 7 plays, 75 yards in just 90 seconds. Bo Pribula found Donovan Olugbode from 3 yards out to bring it back to 3. But they didn't have enough time left. They went for the squib kick, they didn't get it, and that was game over. And a very disappointing day, Ryan. We had such high hopes for this Missouri team. They were unbeaten. Pribula was looking good. Ahmed Hardy was one of the best running backs in the country. He was kept to 12 carries and 52 yards, and they started both halves well on offense and then just went completely dead against an Alabama team who, quite frankly, were there to be had, and they couldn't take them, which shows Missouri are not ready to make that jump just yet.
No, I'm disappointed in them as well. As you say, they threatened to be frisky at times. Like I say, at crucial moments in the game, though, found wanting. Not how you start, it's how you finish. And as you say, later in that game, when they were almost threatening an upset, it felt like Pribula and it felt like stage fright. Like you say, the costly turnovers, inexcusable moments. where you let Alabama off the hook. As you say, Ty Simpson's emerged as one of the favourites for the Heisman. Like saying, he's having a tremendous year, and they've turned the corner. But on this one day, they were there to be beaten. You were right. Missouri could have come out there with the victory, but yeah, Alabama. The defense did what it did. Like I said, does what it does. Like I say, it's stingy. It held them hard. It held the best running back in the country to, like I say, 4 yards carried, just 52 yards. It did its job in that part. Slowed them down. Put all the pressure on Bo. Like I say, he had a good day rushing the ball. He had good spots throwing the ball, but then there was just a couple of throws where, as soon as it left his hand, he was like, I wish I'd have wanted that back. And it ended up being costly. And if you make big mistakes against big teams like the Crimson Tide, more often than not, they will come back to haunt you, because they're built to punish sides in that way. And in the end, Alabama, yeah, they escaped with victory. Like I say, Missouri are a dangerous opponent, showed them a lot of respect, and they will be very happy to come out of that one on top.
Yeah, they will. So it was a bad week to be a ranked team. A lot of them lost. Fair enough, there was a few all-ranked matchups, but there's 4 new teams in the top 25 this year. It's on the bottom. You can see what the current top 25 is, and the 11 unbeaten teams as well. Just that extra info in there, so I don't have to go through it all. Brent goes, Mizzou didn't capitalise on opportunities they had, cost them the game. Yep, it did. Whereas Indiana, they capitalised when they had opportunities. They bounced back from the setbacks. Mizzou didn't do that, and those are the fine lines that keep you at the bottom of the food chain. Outside of that, USA football have been played early. Tulane beat East Carolina 26-19. Jacksonville State beat Sam Houston 29-27. Sam Houston 0-6 this year. Gonna have to take a little look at what's going on there, but that's not been a good year for them. Southern Missouri and Charles Huff went 4-2 on the year. They're 2-0 in the Sun Belt. Beat Georgia Southern 38-35 as Clay Helton's group are 0-2. So, Charles Huff doing a major rebuild job with Southern Miss quickly there. A game I do want to stop at though, and someone who has done an utterly wonderful rebuild job, right? South Florida.
Biggest win of the week for me.
Absolutely abusing.
Huge game. That was a huge game with, like, say, conference and future playoff implications on the line.
Absolutely abusing one of the best. I mean, let's not get this wrong.
Jesus, like I say, it was homicide that third quarter.
1,100 yards of offense in this game. Went absolutely nuts. But South Florida marched into North Texas and beat them 63-30.
Biggest crowd that Denton, North Texas has ever had, I believe. I believe that was their record home attendance.
Yeah, it was absolutely packed. And South Florida, as Ryan said, dropping 28 in the third quarter after what was a very keenly contested first half. North Texas scored first. Then there was USF. Then it was North Texas and USF. They traded touchdowns basically. North Texas took the lead 3 times in the first half, only for USF to pull them back. The last one was with 2 seconds of the half left. They went really brave on that. But then the drive chart, and I just have to get into the drive chart. This thing went mental in the third quarter. There were so many drives in this game as well. It was so interception from North Texas to start the third quarter. Touchdown from USF. It was 2 plays, 15 yards. Fumble return touchdown for USF. Then a touchdown for North Texas. Then a touchdown for USF. Then North Texas got turned over on downs. Then South Florida got another touchdown. I mean, this thing went absolutely crazy. It was all over the place. Byron Brown, he had 222 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 1 pick thrown. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. He had a 100-yard carry there. Drew Mestermaker threw for over 300 yards, but he threw 3 interceptions and
he had no interceptions
before
this game. He had a perfect season.
He did, and he got absolutely ruined. But USF, USF are maybe us outside Memphis, are one of the front runners in the American here, in a stacked American, and North Texas were legitimate opponents. They marched into their house and slammed them into the door with complete and utter disdain. Yeah,
first half, as you say, it was a bit like a boxing match. They were trading blows. Like I say, they were both happy to go into the half-time at level. Like I say, yeah, but whatever goal I said at the half, later firing them. So like I say, especially in the second half, that defense came on fire. Like I say, Maker suddenly the windows weren't there, the pressure was there. Like I said, the turnovers started, and it was like a flood. Like I said, a dam had been unleashed in that third quarter. USF just took over the game completely. They came alive, and they very quickly ran away with this. Like I say, a couple of defensive turnovers. One of the funniest plays of the year for Shula, getting taunted before scoring because he wouldn't go into the end zone. He was mocking the crowd and the players, and he almost fumbled.
Yeah.
That was actually quite. It was cheap, but it was quite funny. But it did sum up the game, like you say, that yeah, they kind of had a bit of an arrogance about them in that third quarter. Like, we're better than you. Like I say, we run the American. We're going to prove it. Like I say, huge win for them.
Yeah, let's say Jalen Shuler, another interception for him. His season.
It's mean green to lose like that at home. That's painful.
In front of your biggest ever crowd as well.
You need to bounce back from that in a big way as well. You can't let that define your season.
There's not many easy games in the American Oval, but USF, like, who can stop them? The big one is that, so it's USF Memphis the weekend after this one.
This might be the title game. The loser.
It could be a
could
game.
Well, be the team that does not make it.
It might be a bona fide game of the week contender. That might be
the winner of this one leads the race in the G5 playoff.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. These are the two behemoths right now. But South Florida they look amazing, and Golesh has done such a good job there. They are 5-1 on the year. They're 2-0 in the AAC now. I mean, North Texas is still 5-1. It's still a good season for them, but
you can still return it. Like say, they now need Memphis to beat USF. They need a bit of revenge.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely, they do. In other games, Washington did in Rutgers 38-19. Rutgers did hang around in this one for a little while, but welcome back Athi and Kaliak Manis, the guy we all knew and loved. He threw 3 picks in this one and looked really, really bad. However, Ian Strong, right, 7 catches, 124 yards for him. I mean, him, DT Sheffield and KJ Duff might be one of the best receiver trios in all of college football right now, coming from Rutgers. But Ian Strong especially, there's something about him. He screams NFL Sunday player.
Do you know where he is on Mel Kiper's big board?
Where?
45.
What, as in prospects or as a receiver prospect?
Prospects.
Oh, he's a top 50 prospect.
He's got a top 50 draft pick. I saw multiple, doing this about draft, I saw multiple teams, taking him, early second, late second, early third. The guy he's seriously respected in this class. 6'3", 210, big outside radius, he's strong, great in contested physical catch points. Yeah, the guy's looking a top 50 draft pick. His potential, if he has a good combine, honestly, I mean, Ricky Pearsall sneaked in around 1.
Yeah, why might he not sneak in?
And he does not have the build of Ian Strong or the physicality.
No, and I think Rutgers, they play
Oregon. Could be talking, if he has a big off-season and a combine, you could be talking about, a big old jump for Ian Strong this year.
If you can go off against Oregon this week, then, it's good level opposition.
Some big games now.
So you've got the thing. Poor Kaliak Manis had to throw 51 times, so I'm not going to blame him too much in that one. Demond Williams, we finally saw the game from him we've been waiting for. 150 yards and 2 tutties on the ground. 400 yards and 2 tutties through the air, and he only had 21 completions.
Him and Denzel Boston filming a great partnership right now. Yeah. I tweeted it, not enough people talking about the Huskies.
No, they're just...
as a potential playoff team. They're 5-1. They've got one of the best young quarterbacks in the country. They've got a first-round receiver. I see Boston now multiple times going in the first round.
Yeah.
I see you've got a great defense. You've got good safety in McLaughlin, and you've also got the most combined touchdowns in the country. Jonah Coleman. He leads the country, I believe, in all touchdowns.
Yeah, he does. And you've got a Michigan test this week, so Michigan's still been Michigan, but they're still a standard bearer of the Big Ten. So you've got to go in there, and you've got to
get any easier for Michigan. USC straight into Washington.
You've got to put a hurting on Michigan now. You lose to Michigan, that's a very bad loss. So Washington are going to be tested this week. But yeah, they absolutely tore apart Rutgers. Rutgers are 0-3 in the Big this year. They are reverting to norm. Colorado State thwomped Fresno State 49-21. As EJ Warner I think he's trying to set a collegiate record for most picks thrown in his career. He had to throw 50 times, bless him, but 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's just an absolute turnover machine, but hugely eye-raising victory for Colorado State there. UCLA, Rye, not just a flash in a pan. We made the mistake of betting on the pick watch for Michigan State, but UCLA came in and, forgive the use of term, but they ran an absolute train on Michigan State. Michigan State took the lead early. Childs got one early, but after that, the next 6 consecutive scores were from UCLA, and Nico is looking good again. The run game's finally starting to come to the core a bit. Jalen Berger, who was he was Kenneth Walker's replacement at Michigan State and did absolutely nothing for them and got booed out of town. Jalen Berger comes home, drops 87 yards, 8 yards per carry and a touchdown on his former team. And Michigan State, just 3 weeks ago, they looked legit. Now they look absolutely hapless. But UCLA have suddenly become one of the best teams in the Big.
Yeah, it's been college football is a funny thing, isn't it? Like you say, a team that can be so incredibly down on its luck. It just takes a statement kind of win like that to really kind of like firing you. Like I say, I was the only person that picked UCLA in the pick watch this week. Everyone else picked Michigan State.
That was my fault. I was the idiot. Yeah.
I just felt something, like you say. I just thought, like, I've got belief in them. As you say, Nico, I thought, bad start to year. I thought, he's gone. Like I say, he has 1 year and he's done in UCLA. Like I said, depending on, like I say, what they do with their coach, I think Nico could build a potential future here now. So young man, like you say, the program is warming to him. He's finding success now. I mean, I know a lot of people are boasting about the UNOC, but their interim head coach, like I say, is doing a really good job of steadying it. Yeah. I mean, you do not want to risk losing this staff.
No.
It's early days, but right now, just promote everyone. Put them all in the positions they are in now and give them their jobs. But yeah, Michigan State, a couple of weeks ago we were thinking, it's clicking. Charles is clicking. And like I say, it's all working. Clicking stopped. And yeah, don't get used to seeing Nick Marsh and Spartan Green.
No, he's gone.
But he's gone. I mean, Charles... He should not waste another season in Lansing.
No. I mean, Charles kind of maybe stat padded at the end against USC, but his last 2 weeks against Nebraska, 9 of 23, which is less than 40% completion, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This week, 8 of 17 for 66 yards. He's not even past 90 yards the last 2 weeks. He's been pulled for Milivojevic 2 weeks in a row now. And he's a turnover magnet again. Like, he was 9-1 for his touchdown to turnover ratio in the first 4 weeks. And he's 0-2 the last 2. I don't know what's gone wrong there. Something has just not clicked, whether it's that line, whether it's the run game, but they've just been trampled and they need to figure out a fix quickly because Smith ain't going to get much more leeway from them. They're gonna want more off him sooner rather than later because they've invested a lot of money in this team and all his staff from Oregon State.
It feels like so you look at the remaining games, it's going to be a rough end to the season, I think.
Yeah,
there's going to be some big questions asked. Like you say, Child's future as a starter, he's definitely under danger. They may have to, like say, look at another experienced Paul option end here. He may well get replaced fairly quickly if you cannot stop. It's the turnovers, as you say. Like I say, they're too costly.
Yeah, absolutely. They are way too costly. In terms of other games, SMU wrecked Stanford 34-10. Houston wrecked Oklahoma State 39-17. Does not get better for the Cowboys. Cincinnati's fairy tale run is continuing, right? 20-11 winners over UCF, and it may be not them the prettiest on offense, but Cincy are proving to be a two-tier team here. They're not just an offense running behind Brendan Sorsby, and co, they've got a defence that's legitimate as well, making a lot of stops. And poor Cam Fancher, back in the lineup after getting dropped, had to throw 50 times in this one. He ran over 100 yards as well, but the Cincy defence absolutely locking things up. And they're now 5-1 on the year, and they're just showing no signs of slowing down whatsoever.
Nope. I'd say it's pretty miraculous turnaround for a team that a lot of people at start season probably didn't have many hopes for. Probably were fairly written off, despite Salisbury having a good year this year. No one considered them as a Big 12 contender.
No.
And they have definitely upset the apple cart with some big wins. Like I say, they've won games in different styles. Last week we saw offense. This week we see defense. Like I say, UCF, yeah, they're not good right now. Like I say, Scott, you need some serious time and investment to get them where they are. But still, you can still beat anyone on any given Saturday. And Cincinnati had to be blind for that. But yeah, their defense did a really good job.
Yeah, it did indeed. James Madison beat Louisiana. Army destroyed Charlotte 24-7. Miami of Ohio beat Akron 20-7. Bowling Green beat Toledo 28-23, and there was 17-0 down in that game. Or 21-0 down. I don't know what's happened to Toledo this year, but they're 3-3 and they're 1-2 in the MAC. Candle and Co. not doing well, but Bowling Green, massive win for them because they're only 3-3 as well. Eastern Michigan beat Northern Illinois 16-10. The Toilet Bowl, the movable object versus the stoppable force. Kent State absolutely obliterated UMass 42-6. And yeah, you got to figure there's probably another coaching change coming at UMass soon. Nearly one of the biggest shocks ever, though, Rye. And after a week where we thought maybe they were not on fraud watch so much, Lane Kiffin and his Ole Miss Rebels nearly lose at home to Washington State, and the Cougars have not been good recently in times past. But the Cougs were in front for a lot of this game. They took the lead. Landon Wright got a touchdown to start this one off. Then Ole Miss went 10-7 up, but then the Cougs retook the lead 14-10. It was a 46-yard touchdown run from Kirby Voorhees. And it took until really the last seconds of the third quarter for Trinidad Chambliss to get his own touchdown run to get them back in front. They then took a 10-point lead when Chambliss found Caden Lee from 35 yards out for another touchdown. But Washington State did not go away, and Xavier Eckhouse had his second touchdown pass of the day to Tony Freeman with 3 minutes left in the game, and they forced Ole Miss to punt. And they had about 1:09 left. They went 5 plays, 52 yards, did Washington State, and they just ran out of time in this one to pull off what would have been one of the biggest shocks we've ever seen. Just when you think they've got it together, the Rebs, they go and pull something like this. But kudos to Washington State. Xavier Eckhouse and co, they made them work for it. And in Trinidad Chambliss's young career, this was one where, he will be better for this experience. He was put under a bit of pressure. The home crowd started to get at him a bit, but he eventually found a way to win. But the Cougs, they keep playing like that. They'll be back to good in no time.
Yeah, like I said, they did really well to frustrate it. And it says a lot, because I remember I watched the game and Lane Kiffin's half-time talk. Even after the game, so dejected. Like I say, he could not believe how bad they were and how pedestrian they were. And like I say, quite something like Chambliss, like I say, needs to leave that D2 stuff at home or something quite a scathing comment, like I say, about first-time QB. He was not happy with them at all. Like I say, in his second half, they did a good job to kind of salvage the position. But yeah, it was a really tough day at the office. But credit to the Cougs who came out of that game. Like I say, still a difficult season with a lot of hope. Like I say, their defense did a really good job of rallying and slowed down an Ole Miss offense that we know can be disastrous and very, very destructive on its day.
Yes, it can be indeed. So well done to Washington State. You gave yourself a fighting chance. Just carry on playing like that. Georgia Tech continue their unbeaten start to the year. They put away Virginia Tech 35-20, and they're looking legit. They got a very tough one this weekend away at Duke, but we'll see how they get on. Notre Dame eventually ran over NC State 36-7, but it was close for a big period of that game. Northwestern, as we mentioned, 22-21 winners over Penn State. They are 4-2 this year. They are 2-1 in the Big Ten. Northwestern looking decent, as well as Nebraska. Nebraska 34-31 winners over Maryland, and again, Maryland, Ryan, kicking themselves over games that they should win, that they just can't win. I mean, Nebraska were kind of comfy in this one for a while, but then Maryland threatened near the end to come back in and make a game of this, and it was 20. They were winning 31-24 with about 8 minutes to go, and they let the game slip. Dylan Raiola, his stat line is 20 of 29, 250 yards, 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It was a bit of a day for him. Emmett Johnson, he is one of the more underrated running backs in the nation, 176 yards for him. Malik Washington continues to look good. He's just not getting complimentary football from his running back room or his defense. But Nebraska are in the top 25 now, Ryan. I know they lost to Michigan, and they are completely on fraud alert, but they've been perfect other than that. 5-1. Bigger questions coming, but they're there.
Yeah, like I say, big win for Nebraska. Like I say, it was not pretty by any means, but they showed a bit of toughness. They showed a bit of character to see that out in the end. Like I say, Raiola, good, bad, the ugly. We've seen everything from him. Like you say, he shows he's frustrating, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because there's an incredible amount of talent there. He's the kind of QB that could go first overall in his class. But then, like I say, so many sloppy turnovers and like head scratching plays that kind of throw these games wide open when they should be like home and dry. Really frustrating in that sense.
Yeah.
And in the end, but yeah, Maryland, it's weird team, like I say, because like I say, Malik Washington, he is one of the best freshmen in the country. He is kicking this team to 4-2, dragging, kicking and screaming. Because like I say, he ain't got much of a run game to work with for the most part. It's still an offense that is too one-dimensional. It's still questionable coaching. It still feels like at some point, doesn't matter how long the head coaches are a lot, they're going to come under question very quickly. And then you do throw Washington's future in doubt there overall. If they do not make this a complementary team, you do not get in weapons, you do not install a good run game in, you just won't keep Malik around long. No. Until, like I say, the Big Ten teams, the other Big Ten sides that need a quarterback come calling. Like I say, the NIL opportunities will be there, and they'll turn his head if you can't help him run a team that can be competitive.
No, and you need more from your edge. You've got a whole host. You've got the best edge rusher in the nation coming next year. You've got one of the best ones this year. You've got 2 of them this year, and you figure you'd be able to do something with that, and they just are not. But Nebraska will keep an eye, but until they defeat a big opponent, they are still on massive fraud alert. I think you called this one, but we saw maybe the game where Josh Hoover's Heisman campaign died a death. Kansas State whacking TCU 41-28, and it was all TCU's own doing. It was 7-all, and not just long before the half, and it had been sort of a bit of a ding-dong thing, but then 2 bad mistakes on offense. The first, Ed Small with a fumble, which Kansas State returned. It was a fumble return touchdown, and then at the start of the second half, Josh Hoover got pick-sixed by Desmond Purnell to give Kansas State a 14-point lead, and then once Avery Johnson had got the touchdown pass to Garrett Oatley just after that, it was a 21-point game. Hoover was having to throw from behind. There was absolutely no run game for him whatsoever. He threw 47 times, got nearly 370 yards and 4 touchdown passes, but 2 picks as he just had to keep going all over the place. His top target, Eric McAllister, one of the underrated receivers going, he had 4 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was going at 31 yards per catch and averaging a touchdown every 2 receptions. But Kansas State's defense came up big in this one, Ryan. TCU got a bit of a hiding in the end, which has kind of thrown a massive spanner in their season now, because K-State offensively still looked average, but 2 scores like that, you can't make those mistakes, and they were punished.
No. K-State had a relatively bad season. Injuries have not gone their way. Johnson's not been great. Defense hasn't pulled its weight. Like I say, but defense big time. Like I say, Romain leading the troops this time. They did come big, and like I say, turnover plays, defensive touchdowns, and yeah, we've always known that TCU's brand of football. It's high risk, high reward, and their quarterbacks always seem to be like that too. You know, eventually Hoover's going to make big mistakes when he tries to gamble too much. Like I say, pick six, yeah, and they're always going to pass their way out of trouble. That's kind of just who they are, ingrained in their DNA. So they are there for the taking at certain opportunities like this. And it's hard to see where the Horned Frogs go from here, like I say, because right now they're on the edge of the cliff. Their season could go one way or the other. Like I said, but for K-State, they needed this win big, just for morale. They needed it for morale, really. Like I said, to try pick up a few scalps between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. Where else were we there? App State beat Georgia State 41-20. Marshall destroyed ODU. Bad loss for them, and they got James Madison this week, but that was 48-24. Western Michigan shut out Ball State 42-0. Maybe the most underrated game of the week, and the shootout you never thought would happen in the Mountain West, Rye. 1,200 yards of offense.
Was this UNLV?
99 points. UNLV 51, Air Force 48, in a game which had 10 rushing touchdowns, 6 from Air Force, 4 from UNLV. Colandrea threw for like 400 yards. The Air Force QB threw 10 passes for 175 yards. And a touchdown. This was just stat central on both sides of the ball, but the most unlikely scoreline, right? These two teams took chunks out of one another. Air Force were up 21-10 early, and then UNLV came back to 28-21. Then they just carried on trading scores for the rest of the game, and this literally was a case of last team with the ball wins, because Air Force got the go-ahead touchdown with 1:13 to go. Saga, the quarterback, got the touchdown, and then UNLV took about 40 seconds to go the length of the field, and Colin Dreyer eventually ran in the winning touchdown. But just, this is just boxers fight, both teams throwing sluggers, and it's last man on his feet standing wins. But, you've just got to say bravo. 1,200 yards in a game like that between the last two teams you'd expect to do something like that. Tremendous stuff.
Like I say, because your Air Force's brand of football does not really usually bode well for a shootout, because like I say, they're methodical, they're a rushing team, but like I say, they dragged UNLV into hell. And a big shout to Rebs and Dan Mullen. Yeah. Dan Mullen might be the biggest surprise of the year. I thought he was washed.
They're unbeaten.
I thought, like I said, but yeah, what, they're 6-0?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Like I say, that it's not been pretty at times, but he's managed to get this. He's cobbled together the biggest and, like say, baddest attitudes of the portal, and he's making it work. The big names are starting to click now, and he's getting some big performances out of some of these guys.
Just all offensive stats are in the deep green for this. I'm sorry I'm not showing you the stats today, but we've got that much to go through. I don't have time. The defensive stats, let's just show you this. The stop rates for teams. So this is the amount of drives which are stopped by a defense. So it's a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs. It was 21% for Air Force. It was 20% for UNLV. So basically 4 in every 5 opposition drives for both teams ended in points. There were no sacks. There were no tackles for loss in the passing game. There were 2 tackles for loss in the entire game. There were no forced fumbles, no interceptions, no passes defended. There was no defensive stats whatsoever. There's going to be 2 DCs who are probably going to have been frog marched into the head coach's offices on Monday and explain what the hell happened.
Yeah, like I say, 2 units pulled their weight, 2 just left by the way. They were spectators. Like I say, it was just praying to get the ball back last and just giving me an opportunity to win.
Yeah, I think if Air Force had have had a chance, they'd have probably gone on and won this thing if they'd have had the chance to do so. Like, absolutely crazy stuff in the Mountain West. I feel sorry for Air Force, but like I say, UNLV are quickly becoming one of the unheralded teams because no one's talking about them. And they're 12-point underdogs for the game this week, which feels incredibly disrespectful. We'll come back to them shortly. Navy, we're talking about service teams. Navy pull one out their arse against Temple, 32-31, a game which they should have been winning, and it tells me that this absolutely brutal schedule they've got coming up, they're not going to survive. But, you know, when we started this pod, right, we used to talk about the service teams as, oh yeah, they're the plucky teams, they play the triple option, they'll give you a bit of toughness every now and then, but for the most part, eminently beatable, not a lot going to them. You know, Army destroy another team this week. Navy are 6-0 with, you know, they're unbeaten so far this year, put under a lot of pressure by Evan Simon and this Temple team who were not expected to do well. And service teams playing behind traditionally are not that good. But it was a 2-point conversion. Navy went for the 2-point conversion to win this. They didn't say we're going for the draw. They said we're going for the win. And Texa, the star receiver there, got it. And despite 520 yards of offense from Temple, Navy turned them away. All three teams doing themselves a credit this week. But Navy, they're hanging on in there by the skin of their teeth, but they went out and won when well behind at one point.
Yeah, I credit that. Like you say, they dug deep. They did a really good job of hanging in there. And in the end, I love teams that go for two. You always see teams take the extra point, like, oh, we'll take our chances because college football over time is fairer. Like saying, it gives both opportunity teams to go out for the win, but ending it there and then is really, I think it's the best way to do it. And like I say, it was a good come from behind victory. It showed some courage and it showed a bit of guts at the end and great execution on the 2-point conversion. So they win it, yeah. Like I say, definitely an interesting brand of football now that all the service academies are kind of trying to go towards more traditional offences.
Yes, definitely. They look so good at the minute, all three of them, so you've got to give them a lot of kudos there. Florida Atlantic dropped a 50 burger on UAB, which led to Dilfer's departure. Did not help him at all. Iowa shut out Wisconsin 37-0, and how is Luke Fickell still in a job at this stage? It's got to be a matter of time, surely. That program is deader than dead. That program is deader than dead. And again, you know, Iowa, fine. It doesn't show anything about them whatsoever because Wisconsin are so bad. Tamu beat Florida 34-17, putting another nail in Billy Napier's coffin. Arkansas nearly took down Tennessee 34-31. There were a lot of ranked teams upset. There were a lot of teams that nearly got beaten this week, and I get Tennessee having to change quarterback right at the last minute. Aguiar looked good again. They finally started to get a bit of a run game in there. But Arkansas were frisky. It's just they lost the turnover battle. -3 was Arkansas's turnover ratio. They lost 3 fumbles on the day, and Tennessee took advantage.
It defines the game, doesn't it? You lose by just a couple of points.
But Tennessee, they suspect at home as well. They were 11-point favourites for this. Arkansas probably could and should have beaten them.
Yeah, disappointing the Vols. I say disappointing, but I say statistically the best QBs in the country. I'm pretty sure Aguiar leads the country in 20-yard passes. He is like the best deeper QB in the country right now.
He is. He's throwing it deep. He's he's getting those chunk plays. The
Brazil, he's a big sleeper too.
Yeah.
What a huge year.
No, absolutely he is. Wyoming beats San Jose State 35-28. Coastal Carolina beat ULM 23-8. We all got that wrong in the pick watch. Texas Tech, I mean, they had their first little bit of a potential faux pas at the weekend. They went up on Kansas early, and you're thinking this one is done and dusted. They were 21-0 up, and then Kansas got really frisky. They scored 17 points in the last 6 minutes of the half. Jalen Daniels had a couple of touchdown passes, and they had a nearly 60-yard field goal just before they went off. And you're thinking, is this the first potential signs of a crack in this big money team? But then they came out in the second half, and Kansas's drive chart was ugly as me. I mean, it was punt, 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 downs. They had 19 yards, -8 yards, 41 yards, 31 yards, -8 yards, 45 yards, and Texas Tech put down 3 touchdowns in that time. Will Hammond had a couple. Cameron Dickey had a rushing one, as well as they showed they don't need Bear and Morton. They rushed for nearly 400 yards.
Had a monster weekend.
380 rushing yards for Texas Tech. Bear and Morton threw 7 passes for 88 yards. He was taken out in the end, and Will Hammond, the backup, came in to do some damage. He did throw an interception, but somebody had the gall to stand up to them, and they just smacked them in the ground for their trouble. They're like, don't you ever do that again. We're the big team round here now, and passed another test.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Who can stop Texas Tech right now? It doesn't look like anyone. Like I say, they're now showing, like I say, a nasty ground game. They've got a dual-headed quarterback, like I say, because they can throw Hammond in at any point. Like I say, for a freshman, very comfortable. And then you add in the best, right now, the most active, destructive defensive front in the country. Recipe for a playoff run.
I mean, David Bailey, 3 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 11 total pressures. I mean, Romello Height had a sack himself and 8 QB pressures, and a forced fumble on the day as well. There just might not be a better pairing in the country right now, and their D tackles are doing the job for them. Skylar Gill-Howard continues to have a great year.
Hunter's having a quiet year by most standards.
He is.
He's best place in the country.
I think he's just getting outshone, isn't he? But Romello Height and David Bailey, like, good luck as a tackle against them two. They're just... David Bailey's on a rate tear.
Yeah. Honestly, whatever they paid him in the portal wasn't enough. Because, like you say, yeah, he looks like a bona fide first rounder. So...
the stat line for his last 2 games, okay, just his last 2 games against Houston and Kansas, who are not the worst teams in the world, 24 quarterback pressures, 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble in his last 2 games on their own. I mean, those are video game numbers. Those are numbers you put up on the video game.
6 pressures on the season in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's got what? In 2 games, he's got
24.
Of that.
He's got 40. He's got 44 on the season. He's got 9 sacks and 11 quarterback hits in 6 games.
I mean,
he's on pace to have a 20+ sack season.
Are we talking a serious defensive Heisman coordinate? I mean, we've got to be, haven't we?
He's going to be in the playoffs.
We thought about a Heisman player on the defensive side of the ball.
They're going to be in the playoffs at the rate they're going. They're going to be in the playoffs. He's got a sack.
He's on pace to be in New York. Yeah, by Heisman.
David Bailey has a sack in every game so far.
He's winning the Bednarek. He's winning it. He's winning all the defensive player awards.
Oh God, yeah.
There's not linebacker this year.
Yeah. So put it this way: last year, his breakout year at Stanford, he had 39 quarterback pressures and 7 sacks and 6 quarterback hits.
He's already smashed them numbers.
He's blown them out the water. He's doubled his QB hits. He's 2 over his sack count. He's 5 quarterback pressures over already. And again, he's played 6 games. He's got half a season to go. What the hell do you do against that? And I say Kansas threatened in this, but Texas Tech showed that they're just a bully. You know, you can lay your best shots on them, they'll absorb them, and then they'll just push you away like you are absolutely no man's business. Yeah, it's scary how good they are. Georgia beat Auburn 20-10. I am still not sold on Georgia in the slightest. Just Auburn have been Auburn again, and Hugh Freeze is now, in a lot of people's minds, on a hot seat. Neither team was going up more than 4.3 yards per play. I don't know. I'm just not sold on Georgia at all at the minute, Rye. I think they've got a very big test against Ole Miss this weekend. I just think it was they outbattered one another, and Auburn won the outbatting.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game. I watched most part of it. It was certainly not a spectacle. Stockton, yeah, he continues to me to look pedestrian without trying to offend him. Compared to, like, say, the Ty Simpson making a big jump, I think Stockton is just middle of the road. And I think he's just benefiting from having one of the best skill sets. The players, the skill sets he's got there are just ridiculous.
And I think
they're carrying him.
Yeah, and I think Nate Frazier's completely overrated at running back. They need a new running back in Georgia. He's not good. Like if he's getting yards, he's fumbling, and then when he's not fumbling, he's not getting yards. So, hey ho there.
I'm going to admit I was wrong about Auburn.
Yeah,
Cam Coleman, another one. Cam Coleman,
guilty.
The holding back. Cam Coleman, please go to Ohio State or something like that. Enter the portal, kid. He should be a star.
Yeah, guilty as charged as well on that one. The Golden Gophers beat Purdue 27-20, but they had to come from behind. They were a good chunk behind in that one. Purdue have been a little frisky in recent weeks. They're showing signs of life, but Minnesota really, really needed that one. And Drake Lindsay, I think he still looks pretty good this year, so good for him orchestrating the come from behind win there. Clemson did away with BC 41-10. Boston College look absolutely atrocious this year, one of the biggest disappointments in college football.
Bill O'Brien probably soon for the chop.
Yes, I think Bill O'Brien is soon gone. UTSA dropped a 60 burger on Rice, and Henry did nothing in that game, which is quite scary. That UTSA team, another one of these American sides who could make noise. LSU beat South Carolina 20-10, and again, I just didn't think anything of LSU whatsoever, but South Carolina have been a complete and
once again, LSU defense came to play.
Yeah.
Mansour Delay. I mean, I think he's the best corner in the country right now.
Is there a hotter name on people's lips right now than him?
No.
I don't think there is there? Because it's just his rise to...
Like I said, if there was any chance of the Lions being there at 23, I'd take Delane. But there's no chance he's going to be anywhere near Detroit's pick.
Oh God, no. He's taking
consistently a top 10, top 15 player. He's cornerback number 1 for me.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's many that would argue with you there.
And then you add in AJ Halsey and Cooley. The LSU secondary is just phenomenal. And DJ Pickett got a sack. Yeah. I mean, he looks a big. He's a big gangly mess right now. 6'5" freshman. The guy looks like Victor Wembanyama. A bit like an alien at corner. You never do that. But honestly, the sky could be the limit for that kid. Their secondary right now is just stellar.
Yeah, it's on fire, isn't it? Delane's one of the best corners in the country. They've got the safety tandem to go with them, so they'll be dangerous so long as the offense can do enough. Troy beat Texas State in an 89-point thriller, 48-41. Boise State beat New Mexico 41-25. San Diego State beat Nevada 44-10, and Hawaii 44-26 winners over Utah State. They are 5-2, Ryan. They're 2-1 in the Mountain West. Hawaii shout out. They're finally, for the first time under Timmy Chang, about to go bowling. They just need 2 more wins to get there. But 600 yards of offense. Pafeli Ashlock 3 touchdowns. Mickey Alajardo's back to how good he is. He's not injured anymore. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. We're finally seeing the Rainbow Warriors break through the ceiling. Teams like this they would not have beaten in previous years. 5-2, they can be very proud of themselves, providing they finish it off right.
And the future's bright at quarterback. Like I say, he's young, isn't he? So I think the future's looking really good for them. Like I say, they've had some good weapons this year. I think the future is bright for the Rainbow Warriors, and I just can't wait for them to get into their new stadium. Like I say, and finally get some big crowds, and like I said, they might bring some good times back. Future is bright for them, definitely.
Don't know why we went to blue screen for a minute there, but we did. But we're back again. I've just made sure of that there. And then the last one, BYU, nearly upset by Arizona, 33-27, but they are going to go into the Holy War unbeaten, 6-0. And their young quarterback, Bear, had one of his rougher days here. He threw a couple of picks, did throw a touchdown, but thankfully they seem to have found themselves a new running back there in LJ Martin, who's done it. And Bear did have a couple of rushing touchdowns as well. I mean, it's going to be a massive test. We'll talk about it soon, right? But BYU, by hook or by crook, they're still winning. And they had the same sort of thing last year. They had a lot of wins early on, with one of the last undefeated teams before it fell apart. But I think Bear's doing a a good job in the circumstances, given what happened with their QB right before the start of the year.
Yeah, kid was thrust into the starting spot when he was never meant to be. He's doing a great job. He's building a partnership with Chase Roberts and Parker. I think it's Livingston, like it's a slot guy. They're doing well. LJ Martin's good. Yeah, and they got some stellar defenders. Good safeties. Tanner Wall, one of the premier safeties. Like I say, the D line's good. Yeah, like I say, I'm with you. I just want to know if they're built for the long haul. Because like I say, last year in that big game of ASU, when they bottled it with that interception right at the end, and it kind of just derailed them. Are they going to stay on track this year?
Indeed, they are. So that is your Week 7 slate. That is everything that went down. A lot of ranked teams losing, a lot of big victories, a lot of disappointing defeats. It did not disappoint. And yeah, we will look on that fondly. Right, we've got to move it on because we've been going a while. And we're going to move on now to our half-season mock drafts, and we will come back to this at the end of the year to see what we're feeling. But as we're about the halfway season now, with the playoffs, we're probably not halfway yet, but for the regular season, for most of the players, we are about halfway through now. So we always like to, do a mock halfway through to see what our thoughts are and to see how much they change going towards the end of the season, because obviously our opinions do change. So we're going to go through that here. The Lions I have listed down as having 8 picks. I think Ryan's got 7. You got 7? So the Lions have a 1, a 2, a 4, a 5, 2 6s and 2 7s. I have them down as having. Oh well, that doesn't matter. So we will do our things here. So we're not going to go too in depth down into them at this point. We'll do the in depth ones at the end of the year. And we're not going to do positions right now because positions are going to change. I think we're picking 23rd as it stands, but that's probably going to be
23rd in this round.
That's probably going to be lower. So we're just going to do it right around. So our mock drafts, here they are, halfway through the collegiate football season. Let's get us underway. Who is your round 1 pick for the Lions going into next year?
Staying in Utah, or the state of Utah, is Caleb Lohman. Like I say, serious questions now about, I think Decker retires at the end of the year. So I need a big, agile left tackle. And the 6'6", 305-pound kid has shown that in pass pro, he's incredibly strong, got a great anchor. He's really athletic. He's got big build that can add 5-10 pounds to it. He's just very raw. He's got 1 true year as a starter. He's only a redshirt sophomore right now. So I do take into account there's a lot of growth to be had on the run blocks there. But I think now's the best in time. He'll slip towards the later first because, like I say, of his teammates and other guys. But yeah, I'm investing now in a potential plug-and-play left tackle for the future.
So it's Caleb Lomo out of Utah. For me, I am also on the offensive line. However, I'm going to go different position. I've been very vocal about the need that I want to take a centre very early in the next draft and leave Ratledge where he is. And I am going to take Jake Slaughter out of Florida, the centre, the 6'4", 303-pound behemoth, to be our long-term guy.
Did I just need to say that my next pick is Jake Slaughter?
Oh, well, there you go.
My round 2 pick is Jake Slaughter because I didn't know where to put him.
We've both got him then. But yeah, I've got Jake Slaughter. He's having a great year so far. Just 1 quarterback hit and 1 hurry surrendered all season. He's played TAMU, he's played Texas, he's played against Ruben Bain, Miami of Florida. He's played against LSU. He's ran a gauntlet these last 4 weeks of potential high-level NFL draft talent. I say he's given up no sacks, 1 QB hit, 1 hurry. The run game stuff is a little down. He's graded over 78 the last 2 years. He's at 71 this point so far, but there's no doubt for me he's probably centre 1 in this draft, up and coming. 6'4", 303. He's got the size, he's got the profile. He's absolutely nasty when it comes to how he plays, and having an interior trio, a young interior trio of Slaughter, Mahogany and Ratledge is going to be absolutely insane. And I would use the round 1 pick on him because I think it is vital for us next year that we get a long-term centre. And I'm not moving Ratledge around. Screw that. Leave him where he is. Leave Mahogany where he is. Bring Jake Slaughter into town. I've got him as my round 1 pick, and I'll go back to you then. He's your round 2. Are you agreeing along the same lines?
I take him at 23. I take him at 23. Like I say, I was either thinking Connor Lew in the first, tackling second, but obviously I've gone tackle, like I say, but yeah, we need a centre. Like I say, I love Graham, he's not the answer. Like I say, Slaughter's got 33 appearances. He's vastly experienced, like I say, the PFF grades for the 4 years, like I say, across the board, very consistent, very good, plug and play guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a little bit of research just very quickly offside of this, but out of all the centres in the NFL, what PFF graded centres coming into the season, there are 18 true centres who played centre their entire career, or at least for a minimum of 2 seasons in college. 11 of the top 15 graded centres in the NFL were full-time centres in college. Out of the other 4, Wattenberg was a 2-year centre, Brewer was a 3-year rotational centre, McGovern had 1 year at centre, only Froholt, the Arizona centre, didn't really play any centre in college. Outside of that, you've got 7 guys in the bottom 16 in the NFL. Oluwatimi's newly drafted, Bortolini's newly drafted, Patterson was drafted not that long ago, Schmitz was drafted not that long ago. Like, most of these guys have not been in the league long enough to get the rep up at this point, but there is a direct correlation between being a centre in the NFL, being a centre in college and learning the position and being technically adept at it, and it translating to the NFL. Because a lot of people just say you can move them. That is not true at all. Again, so yeah, I would do that. I would be having Slaughter in there. So you've got Lomu and Slaughter as your first 2. I've got Slaughter as my first one. Round 2, I go edge. I've got Mikhail Kamara from Indiana. I've loved the kid since he was at JMU. I think the size will work against him in terms of being a round 1 pick, but for us and what we need another edge going into next year. I fully believe that. Davenport's done. I think AQM is a backup at this point. Like, he'll do the job you want him to, but we want the next big guy to go along with him. And Mikhail Kamara has just been a wrecking machine ever since his James Madison days. He's had a slow start to this year. He's only got 1 sack on the year so far, but he's got 21 pressures. He's been consistently good at, getting quarterback pressure this year. His run grade is the best it's ever been in his life. His pressure rate is still high. Done a little bit of coverage work this year as well, but he's only 6'1", 262, but he's got the bigger frame we look after. The run defensive stuff's looked a lot better, and he's got 26 collegiate sacks in his career. He thrives in getting to the quarterback. He had 119 quarterback pressures in the 2 seasons coming into this one. He's at 21 this season already. He just lives getting to the quarterback. And teams have just not really looked at him because he's played at James Madison and he's played at Indiana, but he's got 2,000 career snaps. He's experienced, as you'll find. I think he will make a perfect addition to our defensive line going into next year. So I've got Mikhail Kamara in round 2 to go with Jake Slaughter. It's all trenches for me there. We move to round 4 next. Rye, who have you got?
This is a player that I saw that someone said could be a first rounder, but I've got Vincent Anthony Jr., the edge rusher out of Duke. And right now, he just ain't there yet. So he's 6'6", but first big problem is he's 250. That will not work at the NFL. He's too light and too slender. But last year he had 5 sacks. Right now, through 6 games, he's at 6.5 sacks. He's on well over pace for his first double-digit sack season. He's one of the best pass rushers in all the country. He's got bend. He's got tool-like frames. The guy's built like an albatross. He's got a great motor. Like I say, he's very talented, very experienced, one of the best finishers in the country right now. Biggest knock, though, his tackling is horrendous. The missed tackle rate on this guy is massive. He misses 1 or 2 tackles every week, and it shows on tape. It really is the big flaw right now, hence the round 4 movement. There's a lot of fundamentals to work on. He really is a pass rusher right now that you cannot really trust in the run game because the fundamentals are just not good. Too many missed and broken tackles. But I'm banking on him gaining 15 pounds and still keeping the absolute monster frame, stay slender, stay light, stay speedy, and he's got the old school, so he's got all the talent to be the pass rusher at next level that we do need, one of those real good finishers that could be opposite Hutchinson. And I'm hoping that eventually, like I said, the fundamentals we worked on, the missed tackle rate comes down, you give him a little bit more trust maybe in the run game, but right now he's kind of got to say that he could boost up, he could fly up because, like I say, he's got the tools, he's got the builds, the frame you kind of desire. Someone could take him a lot higher than this if they want to. There just are flaws to the game right now, but I love him. Like I say, he is a serious weapon on the edge.
Who was that again? Sorry.
That's Vincent Anthony Jr.
Ah, yeah.
Duke.
Yeah, the Duke edge. Yeah, I get that. And I'm saying with you, I stayed with my defensive line going into round 4. I've picked Josh Pascal's replacement for next year because I don't want to bring him back because of how injury prone he is. I've gone for Santana Hopper, the defensive lineman from Tulane. He was the Appalachian State transfer this year, and I highlighted him in the preseason. He was on. I don't think he was on my to watch list team, but he's been on some lists of guys we were looking at, prospects in the group of 5. And he's one of these. He's moved more. He's a 5 tech primarily, but he plays in at the 3 tech. He plays on the edge as well. He's one of these tweeners. He's 6'2", 265 pounds. Last year he had 7 sacks, 3 QB hits. Got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 2 forced fumbles as well, and obviously making the move to a Tulane program which has championship aspirations this year in a loaded American with a lot of good competition around, and he's made a good impression at Tulane so far. He's at 20 quarterback pressures this year. He's got 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 11 hurries, so good consistent pressure, 12 tackles. His missed tackle rate is at 7%. He is a technician when it comes to tackling. It's something he's had issues with in the past, but has really cleared up going forward. 9 run stops for him as well. Doesn't do a lot in coverage, but you watch this guy, he is explosive as they come. You listen to his App State coaches, they just said it was a nightmare for their offensive line trying to deal with him. It took a bit of time to find his position, but when they found it, he's gone off like a matchstick. And for me, you need more depth on your defensive line. We've tried and failed for so many years to find these hybrids who can work a bit inside, a bit outside. But this is my Pascal replacement, so I've got Santana Hopper in round 4. He might go earlier than that if he starts notching the sack numbers up. If he doesn't, I think this is where he'll be at, and it'll be a perfect little place for him, kind of like a Javen Solomon type territory. You'll get him. But he's got the production over his career, and he's got the stats to back it up. And if Tulane go on a run and make the playoffs, he'll have a big stage to show what he can do. But yeah, I've got Santana Hopper there in round 4. Moving on to round 5, who do you have, Rye?
Well, this is the guy that may go earlier. I've got Bud Clark. I've got a free safety from TCU. Like I said, the Lions have looked a bit vulnerable for depth at safety this year, so I'm going to bring an experienced head. When I say experienced, I'm talking a guy that's got like 40 games and nearly 2,500 snaps under his career. Like I said, this guy's got 11 career interceptions, 6'1", 190. Like I say, he can do it all. Like I say, he's so aggressive. He's such a good finisher. Great ball hawking skills. He's a guy that's really good. Like I say, in that switching between man and zone in that free safety. Very aggressive. Like I say, good hand-eye coordination. Had some serious injuries at the start of his career, which have questioned his durability going forward. So that's something that will knock him. And they say he's a guy that is very talented. The PFF grades, they're all there, the numbers. Like I say, he's had a very good career. He's one of the more veteran players in the country. He's been one of the biggest parts of the Horned Frog national title run. He was one of the biggest players there. He's still making loads of turnovers right now. He is a bit eager sometimes, like I say. Does like to jump routes, does kind of like to preempt things and leave himself open there as the last line of defense, does give up some big plays, gives up touchdowns. Like I say, sometimes he's a little bit too gung-ho in his approach. The tackling, like I say, needs tidying up. But like I say, if you can overlook, let's say, injuries, like I say, a guy that's got a lot of miles on the clock, has made a lot of tackles, a lot of injuries, I think he could be straight away a good observation and potential depth piece for our backfield.
I like that pick. I like that. Round 5 for me, I've gone receiver. So I've got Chase Roberts out with BYU.
I like him.
Yeah, 420 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season so far. He's going at 19.1 yards per catch. He's the big outside threat for BYU. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. And again, what you always say with BYU wide receivers, they know how to block, and that's one of their first jobs on the team. But he's shown a good deep play threat for them this year. West Virginia, he tore to shreds. There are a few issues which are keeping him down right now. He's got a bad drop problem problem this year. 5 already, which matches his career high. His contested catch ratio is down this year as well, so there's a few little statistical anomalies in with him currently, but the receiving's good enough. I mean, we've got Tesla for the edge now, but we still need more depth at outside receiver. We've got a lot of guys who can play in, but I want to take a chance on a guy who can be Tesla's backup going forward at that outside position, and I think he brings the blocking ability that you want. He brings something we don't have in terms of the 6'4" frame, so I would love to have him here. Let's say 420 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's on course to have maybe a 1,000-yard season. He's not had one just yet, and again, big stage for him this week. There's going to be that's why we're doing the Holy War this week. There's a lot of potentially good draft prospects in here, and one of the biggest games they will play, period. So I've got Chase Roberts there at 5. Before we move into the later day 3 picks, Lisa is in the chat. Hope you're doing well, Lisa. She goes, what about Mateo Uangalalele from Oregon? I'm just going to say this. I think he's a fraud. So the 2 games I've seen this year, so I'm doing tape on Caleb Tiernan at the minute, the Northwestern left tackle. I wanted him in my mock. I couldn't fit him in there. Caleb Tiernan absolutely dominated him from start to finish. Mateo looked useless against him, and Caleb's going to be an NFL caliber tackle, so I worry about what happens with the level of opposition. But against Indiana this week, did you hear his name mentioned? Completely and utterly anonymous in what was Oregon's biggest game of the year, and he did absolutely nothing. That Indiana offensive line is good. It's a good unit. It blocks well. He got nothing. I've got serious concerns about Mateo's big game aura so far. When it comes to the big games, he's disappointing, and I know I'm not on my own thinking that, right?
Yeah, I did think about him, like, say, I mean, there's all that chat of, like, say, first round. I don't see it. I'm not buying into it. I thought about, like, say, if we take Slaughter or Connor Lew in the first round, I might throw 53 at him. That's as rich as I'll go in right now, because you say he has been left wanting in big games last year. I'm still thinking about what I saw last year, and he's not lived up to last season. Like, say, maybe it was a flash in the pan.
Do you know what name I'm thinking? What thinks of him right now? Princely Uman Malin. I'm thinking that name right now. A guy who was thought of as a first round pick, but kind of got exposed when it came to the bigger games against the better opposition. I think Mateo has flattered to deceive. And yeah, as I say, I've seen 2 games this year against NFL level competition and against better competition, and he's absolutely stunk the joint up for both of them. So no, I'm not in on Mateo. Not early. I'm with Ryan. If he drops to day 2, late day 2, I might consider it, but I ain't throwing a round 1 pick at him. I'm not throwing a high round 2 pick at him either. So he's got the stats this year, Lisa, but I think he's a complete fraud right at this moment in time. He will have to prove me wrong otherwise. Right, let's go on to the late one. So we've got 2 round 6 picks. Who have you got with your round 6s? You can do them both.
Yep. So first one, I've got Davison Igbenason. I've got the outside pressman corner, 6'2", 180 from Ohio State. Like I say, he's now been a 2-year starter. Like I say, he's very physical, he's well built. Like I say, good prospect that was at Rebels for a year and then came into Ohio State for 3 years. As of date, right, I say right now, he's got 141 career tackles and 21 passes defended. He's been very good, and he's been opposite some of the best cornerbacks in the country that have got a lot of draft love. But he's not got a lot of draft love himself, like I say, but he's been very physical on his side. I'd say he excels in, like say, jamming guys at the line of scrimmage. He's a very physical guy, very hands-on, likes to be very sticky, like I say, as one of those guys, but excels in tackling, especially at the line of scrimmage. He's got a big build, he's a big corner, he's strong. He does not shy away at all from coming downhill and also in free space, sizing up a running back or a tight end, bringing him down. He's very comfortable. I thought about going cornerback a lot earlier than this, but I just thought, weighing up the needs, it can wait for later on. I think it could be a good later option. And then my other round 6 quarterback is, I think it's a good time to pick up a potential quarterback. There's nobody behind Kyle Allen right now. I've gone Byron Brown from USF. I said 6'3", 225. He's not the kind of guy we run right now, but the guy runs like Derrick Henry. He plays the game like him. He's got a good, strong arm. He's physical. He's a leader. He sees the field well. He's very good all-round physical competitor. Like I say, I really like him. He's getting better. He's like I say, he's doing well in the big games as well this year. They're playing big game football now, and he's showing up on the big stage. So I really like him as a late round option. I think he could do very well behind our offensive line that can get to next level and make big blocks for him. There could be some big splash players, space definitely on some like specially designed runs for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, my round sixes. I've gone linebacker here, and I think this is the guy I'm going to stand for more than anybody this year. I think this is the one that you're not going to hear me shut up about. Colby Fields, out of Louisiana Tech, 6 foot, 225 pounds. And if we're going to have a problem with Anzo and his contract next year, you're looking for a linebacker who's got a big ass chip on his shoulder, feels like the whole world is against him, and is desperate to prove everybody wrong, and is one of the better coverage linebackers in the nation. He fits everything in the bill from his G5 spot. The former high recruit for LSU. As I mentioned his story several times already, the SEC said he wasn't good enough. He had to sit out a year because of eligibility strife. He's going absolutely nuts at LA Tech right now, and he started off well this year. He had a wonderful game against LSU, so he's shown he can do it against the top level of opposition. But so far this year, he's got 6 pressures from his linebacker spot. He's got sack, 2 QB hits, 32 tackles on the year. His missed tackle rate is sub 9%, which for a linebacker is tremendous. 17 run stops. He's got 2 interceptions on the year, back-to-back in his last 2 games. If you're looking for value from the linebacker spot later on in the draft, a la Malcolm Rodriguez, this is the guy. He's not a group of 5 level player. He's a power 4 player who was just never given the opportunity. He was now hiding in plain sight from absolutely everybody. His run defensive grade is well above 80, so he fits what the Lions need in terms of a run defender. But he's a pass rusher, and he's also a coverage linebacker, because when Anzo goes, we don't have a coverage linebacker, and we need to start trading one, and we can't really draft a linebacker high with what we've put into the position through money and draft capital. So for me, Colby Fields is the guy I'm going to hammer the table for day in, day out until this draft happens. So if we can get him this late on, it would be tremendous. If he carries on doing what he's doing, his draft stock may go up, but group of 5 prospects are always penalised. And then the other, I double dip at edge, and I've got Kobe Stewart from Buffalo because of his insane athletic profile. He had that wonderful year for Buffalo last year. He's kind of reverted to type this year. He's only got 1 sack on the season, but he's got athletic traits that you can't teach, and I've seen what he can do when he is utilised properly. Sorry, he's got 2 sacks on the season so far against Minnesota and Troy, so good level of opposition as well. He's useless in coverage. Going to be more of a pass rusher. He's 6'2", 240, so, you know, kind of the James Houston-esque guy. He's got the bend, he's got the speed, he's got everything you want. There's just a lot of rawness to teach out of him. But it's a round 6 pick, and I want as many shots at edge as possible. So I got Colby Fields and I got Kobe Stewart with my round 6 picks. I'll get back to your question in a moment, Lisa, about Oregon again. We'll finish it off with the round 7 guys. You've only got 1, I've got 2 because of picks, yada yada. Who have you got in round 7?
I'm with you. There's going to be some difficult conversations about linebacker potentially at the end of the season. I'm going Bryce. I'm going to put Butker, the Oregon Duck, Butcher.
Oh, Betcher.
Yeah.
I think it's Betcher.
6'2", 230. He was a 2024 MLB draft pick. Right, so he's a proper dual tooth spot athlete. He's also a Eugene, Oregon hometown kid. He spent his whole career with the Ducks so far. He won the 2024 Billsworth Trophy for the most outstanding former walk-on. This guy is a tremendous athlete, student, leader, and player. Like I say, he embodies everything like I say that they need. He's had a great career. 184 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, most importantly 2 interceptions and 7 passes defended. A very well-rounded guy, especially in the run game, can drop into coverage. He's had a very good career so far. I like to say, I'm with you, we don't need to put starter level guys into linebackers. We need to just keep the depth coming through. I like to say he'll offer outstanding special teams, and he can make really good plays and sub packages for the Detroit Lions. So yeah, adding a linebacker late round, like I say, but a very experienced one that's got a lot of production under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my round 7 picks, I've gone corner at last. I'm with you. We do need some corner depth in there. I might go earlier with it, but it's just how this sort of landed. Where was that? So I've got Josh Moten. He's the quarterback from Southern Miss, another one of our group of 5 prospects we profiled earlier in the year. He was one of the Marshall prospects who's gone with Charles Huff from Marshall down to Southern Miss. Had a fantastic year last year, 5 interceptions, 6 PBUs. He's a good run defender, an outstanding tackler as well, and he's taken his coverage to Southern Miss. And he's doing well on the year so far. So 16 of 28, he's only given up 57% on his targets. 2 interceptions, not responsible for a touchdown this year. His missed tackle rate's 3.4%. He's got 28 tackles and just 1 missed on the year. He is outstanding. His coverage has been excellent. As I say, back-to-back picks for him in the last 2 weeks. He's getting going again. He's 6 foot 185. He's one of these really sluggy, brawly type corners from the group of 5 who's going to fight his ass off to get on your roster. He's got 8 career interceptions, 14 pass breakups. He's a ball hawk. Not much penalised either. Just 6 penalties in his entire career. Only 2 of them accepted as well. So great technically, technique-wise, discipline-wise as well. This is kind of my... Oh God, there was another Marshall corner last year I stand for all the time, but Moten is in that category now. So I've got him as my round 7 corner there. And my round 7 quarterback. I've gone quarterback. I'm like you. It hates me to say, but I've got Rocco here. I don't think he's going to go higher than day 3 at this point, but you give me the spectacle in Detroit in round 7. Sit him behind Jared Goff, let him develop. I think he could turn into a very good backup quarterback for the Lions. I would love to see Becht in here, and we've got his running back coach from there. They've got guys who know about him on our roster and will probably say, look, give him a go if you're looking for another quarter there. So I think he would end up here. So I've got Rocco. Just quickly list out your entire mock draft for everyone. This is the half-season mock for Ryan.
So first round, I've got Caleb Lomu. I've got the offensive tackle from Utah. Round 2, I've got Jake Slaughter, the centre from Florida. Round 4, I've got Vincent Anthony Jr., the edge rusher from Duke. I've then got Davison Igbinosun, the cornerback from Ohio State. I've then got Byron Brown, the quarterback in round 6 from South Florida. And I finish off with Bryce Butcher, the linebacker from Oregon in round 7.
And then for me, my round 1, I've got Jake Slaughter, the centre from Florida. Round 2, the edge Mikael Kamara from Indiana. Round 4, the defensive lineman Santana Hopper from Tulane. Round 5, Chase Roberts, the wide receiver from BYU. In round 6, I've got Colby Fields, the linebacker from Louisiana Tech, and Kobe Stewart, the edge from Buffalo. And then in round 7, I've got Josh Moten, the corner from Southern Miss, and Rocco Becht, the quarterback from Iowa State. And before we do the Week 8 preview, very quickly to finish this, Lisa goes, if it's not Mateo that Brad's looking for at Oregon, who is he looking for? Because he's been there twice this year, and I would answer that they have a centre coming up in this year's draft. The Yapani Lalulu. He is one of the better centre prospects in the nation. I would gather he's having a look at them, and if you are looking at moving Ratledge to centre, you're going to need a guard regardless of what you are. Emmanuel Pregnon has, what would you say, is the best guard in the nation, right? 6'5", 318. He was the big USC transfer. He's given up 2 pressures this year. That's it. He's not given up a sack. He's not given up a quarterback hit. He's sporting a 90 grade in his pass blocking at the minute and 77 up in run blocking. I would be willing to bet that offensive lineman is on his list there between Pregnon and Lalulu.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and late day 2, early day 3 for Isaiah World.
Isaiah World is there.
If he slides, like say, you can't say no to the potential if he slides far enough.
Yeah. I think there's every chance he's there looking at his offense, because I think he knows that Taylor's hurt, and I think he knows that he probably needs...
preparing for a retirement in the year.
Yeah, he needs a centre or a guard next year. It wouldn't surprise, especially with all the Ducks O-linemen that have come through the draft in recent years. I think there's every chance he's looking at those. On defence, I mean, I don't think he'd be looking at Tyneman.
I say we'd have to spend 23 on Tyneman.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Mateo's running mate, Tatum Tuioti, looks better than him. He's also at 4 sacks this year. He got 2 against Penn State in the big game there. He got 6 pressures against Indiana. He was by far the better edge. He had a battered pass as well. He had a forced fumble. I mean, I would take Tatum Tuioti over him. He's 6'3", 263, so maybe doesn't quite fit the body size. But I think there's every chance. He's there watching the trenches, right? You've got 3 bona fide prospects on the O-line, and you do have a pair of edges, but as I say, from what I've seen, I think Tuioti's better than Uangalele. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. So I would actually love to see Tatum Tuioti in a Lions uniform after what he did the other day. But yeah, he's definitely there watching the trench warfare players, I think. I can't really see anyone outside of that. Maybe he'll take a look at Betcher while he's there. But I don't think he's looking at any of the secondary guys because they were all pretty rubbish for the most part with Oregon. He'll not have put on good shows for him. Right, I think that is it. I don't know if she's asked any more questions after that. No. And yes, Lisa says, we all know Brad's interested in people that we don't want. And yes, he is. I don't get players that I like. I'm at peace with that. But I will still carry on liking all the players that I can. Right, we need to go on into the Week 8 preview and do the pick watch stuff. So let me just get it up here. But Week 8 is proving... I mean, it could go down as one hell of a weekend, right? I know that much. But we've got to start in one place and one place only. This is the week of the Holy War. It is one of the most fierce rivalries in all of college football. 2 teams who absolutely hate one another, and by hate, that is probably not a strong enough word. These 2 teams loathe and despise one another. Of course, we're talking Utah and BYU. The rivalry was reinstated last year after a bit of a hiatus, but both teams are ranked for the first time in 16 years. It's 2009 the last time these 2 teams were ranked playing one another. Utah are number 23. They're on the road. They're going to Provo to face off against number 15 BYU. And for those who don't know, it's called the Holy War because of its basis on religion. So BYU is owned and administered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The church owns it. It is a religious church by and by. All the students there go on missions, spread the word of God, all that sort of stuff. Utah itself is secular, so it is broken off from the whole religious aspect of it. It is much more culturally and religiously diverse. It is also a public university. Anyone can go there. There are a lot of Latter-day Saints who go to Utah, but you know they're seen as more liberal than the ones who go to BYU. There is a deep hated divide between these 2 teams, Ryan. They've made for some spectacles over the years. It is maybe the most hated rivalry between 2 teams who just do not like one another, period. And it is going to be one hell of a test. This Utah team is stacked full of talent, but talent means nothing when the Holy War comes to town.
No, like you said, it's going to be keeping you cool as well. The crowd's going to be raucous. The referees are going to be all over it. It's got to be chippy. Like I said, there's going to be, like I said, potential scraps. It's all about, like you say, not losing your head. Because they will try to get each other under skin. Like I said, they will be getting under each other's skin at every chance they can. There will be a lot of late hits.
No, and for BYU, undefeated season on the line. They are 6-0. Utah have the 1 loss. For Bear Backmeyer, the true freshman, at least he's at home. If he was in Utah, this might be an entirely different conversation. But this BYU team have been scrappy. They've got a bona fide receiver 1 there. The run game's come into town. Bear has played well, and that defense has been pretty good for the most part. But Utah, they're sporting names all over. Devin Dampier is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the country. They've got 2 tackles that might go round 1. They've got a defense which has been absolutely smothering for the most part, apart from against Texas Tech, which is maybe understandable given how good they are. And they're going to want to spoil BYU's undefeated season. Like, absolutely, that's going to be at the forefront of their minds. I mean, who's going to win this thing in your mind? It's set up to be an absolute barnstormer, and there are going to be fireworks. But who wins it?
I don't think there'll be fireworks. I think defensive tussle. I think Bareback Meyer is about to come under the most pressure he's ever felt. I've got a Utah upset. I think Bear falters this week.
Ooh. See, I don't know why. I've always found myself... this is tough, because I love them both. I love Utah draft prospects. I love BYU draft prospects. But I've always felt myself a little more attached towards BYU. Oh, it's in Provo. BYU won this last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Utah weren't good last year.
That's it.
Ooh.
Bryson Barnes was QB, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, everyone's going BYU for this, I assume, because they're unbeaten. Oh, I don't know. Something's telling me BYU. But I'm with you. I think Utah are going to spoil the party, and I am a massive Devin Dampier fan, so I kind of want him to do it. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of chippiness here, which is why we're going to watch that this weekend, because it is proven to be a great experience. So yeah, the Holy War is in town, but we have a Utah sweep. It's not the only big rivalry game this week, though. The Jewelled Shillelagh is on the line again in an all-ranked fixture, although this will have been all-ranked a lot more times than the Holy War will have. Number 20, USC, on the road at number 13, Notre Dame. And Rye, this is very simple. Notre Dame have lost the only 2 games they've played this year against good opposition. They cannot afford to lose the Shillelagh, or they are not going to the playoffs this year, period, because they will not have a single good win on their resume. For USC, you beat Michigan last week, you're at number 20, you've threatened to be good this year, but you also did come undone in the only game that you played against Illinois, where you were expected to win and you threw it away. So these 2 teams are under immense amounts of pressure. Notre Dame, could effectively end each other's seasons here with what they're going. For me, USC's got the better passing attack. It seems to have got a guy there, but Notre Dame, at home, are always incredibly tough to win. To beat. Who is going to win the Shillelagh?
I'm going to go for a Trojans upset. I've seen enough for them that they can hurt Notre Dame.
I'm going for a USC as win as well, because I don't think Notre Dame have necessarily been impressive.
USC secondary can prey on CJ Carr.
Bishop Fitzgerald. My man, I'm going with you. I'm sweeping that one as well. We got a lot of all-ranked fixtures this week. I am intrigued as hell to see where he goes here. And he knows exactly what game I'm on about. Number 5, Ole Miss, on the road at number 9, Lisa's Georgia Bulldogs, in a defining game in the SEC this year. Ole Miss finally broke the glass ceiling with their win over LSU when he gave up on them. Obviously, they struggled against Wazoo this week just gone, but going to Athens is one of the toughest tests possible against the Georgia team, who, I'm going to say it quite frankly, do not look good this year. I don't think they look good at all. I think they look porous. I think it's their defense keeping them in this. But it's Ole Miss, the biggest frauds out there for the most part, against the team who do not look good. Ryan?
I mean, for the most part, that's why I'm going to pick Georgia. They don't look good. That's exactly why they will probably give Trinidad Chambliss absolute nightmares.
Oh, he's doing it again. He's doing it again. How bad are you going to feel if Ole Miss win again? Or are you going to say it's some kind of reverse voodoo that you're doing?
I'd be happy for Trinidad. I'd like them to win. But this is big game lane.
You know what? Yeah.
Sure.
I got points from going sensible. Like I took Texas to beat Oklahoma. I took Alabama to beat Missouri when I probably shouldn't have in the grand scheme of things. I am also going to take Georgia to beat Ole Miss. Again, I've just said they look absolutely atrocious, but they will give him problems. And Christian Miller, he looks like one of the best nose tackles in the country right now. If they get pressure up the interior as well as come in,
he's playing out of his skin right now too.
Off the edge, yeah. I think that Georgia D-line will. And yeah, we saw Chambliss finally, for the first time, show his Division 2 colours.
He looked human.
Yes, he did. I hope he has a good game. I really do hope he has a good game, but I do think it is a step too far for them in Athens. So I've got a Georgia win as well. At number 10 ranked LSU. At the number 17 ranked Vanderbilt Pimps. The Vanderpimps, as we call them now. And the Vanderpimps need to, they had Alabama. They were competitive against them. It was on the road, but they're at home now. And I've learnt never to take Vanderbilt lightly when at home. And LSU, their defense looks awesome, but their offense is susceptible to turnovers, and Vanderbilt might make a tough game of this. Most people going with LSU. I think a lot of the sensible people will go with LSU and just say it's history. Vanderbilt will crumble. I don't know why though. What do you reckon? Have Vandy got another shot left in them?
No, Pavia's too susceptible to costly turnovers. Just give me the LSU secondary.
I think the question is, has he ran his mouth this week? If he's not ran his mouth, he might be alright.
I think he's been quiet. I think he's been humbled.
Yeah, so maybe they'll win. I am picking LSU.
Like I said, they'll struggle. I think Stowers will struggle against that LSU secondary.
Yeah, I am picking LSU for the record, but I will have it on record also.
I don't think LSU's offense will look good. I think their defense will get it done again.
Yeah, I want Vandy to win. So, interesting next. Number 12, undefeated Georgia Tech at Duke. Now, everyone's picking Georgia Tech for this, but I know you had a lot of hope for Duke this year, and Duke have looked a lot better in recent weeks. They are coming off a week's rest as well. They didn't play last weekend, so they are fresh and ready to go. But Georgia Tech, I will give them their credit. We've been expecting them to hit. We've been expecting them to hit a banana skin eventually, and they snuck that one over Wake Forest just by the hair of the chinny chin chin. Virginia Tech had a little bit of a rally against them the other day, but for the most part, they've looked good. Haynes King is hyper efficient. The defense is doing what it needs to, but this is the ultimate banana skin away at Duke. Can they keep the run going, or is this where the unbeaten season falls apart?
This Manny Diaz proved the man for the Penn State job. Georgia Tech are going to slip. I'll take the Blue Devils.
I am going the same as you. We are agreeing a lot today, but I'm going the Duke upset. I think this is where Haynes King and co. This is the one. If they win this, I will not bet against them for the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm gonna take that one there. A rematch of the Mountain West Championship game from last year. UNLV at Boise State. Boise State 4-2 on the year. UNLV unbeaten 6-0. Boise State are favoured by 12.
How?
Two-score favourites against UNLV. Their home record is immaculate. I think they're at 17 unbeaten at home right now. For as bad as they've been, going to the blue field is absolutely tough. And UNLV have scraped some victories out in this run. Let's remember that. Air Force could have easily beaten them the other week. Teams obviously thinking that Boise are better than they've been letting on, and UNLV are not as good as people thought. But yeah, Boise are 12-point favourites for this. For the most part, people are going with UNLV. Are you backing them to carry on the streak, or are they another undefeated team who will fall?
I think the Broncos' home streak comes to an end, yeah. I think the Rebels find a way to get it done.
I am agreeing with you. So our scores are going to be intertwined this week the way we are going. Number 14, Oklahoma at South Carolina. South Carolina having a rotten year. But Oklahoma, we don't know what's going on with the QB. The run game is susceptible, and the defense, if stretched, can break.
I assume Matia's going to play, which immediately makes me take the Gamecocks.
So you are going South Carolina.
I think Jalen Kilgore and that will prey on a bad Matia. Dylan Stewart might murder him.
I think South Carolina needs someone to beat up on.
Dylan Stewart has stepped up in recent weeks, finally.
He has. I think South Carolina are going to look for someone to beat up on because it's been a bad year.
Potentially.
Yeah, I do. I've got South Carolina winning as well. We've got another all-ranked one in the SEC. Number 11, Tennessee at number 6, Alabama. One of the storied rivalries which Alabama have dominated for so long. But Tennessee have had their number more in recent years. And, you look at this year, Alabama just... every time you think they're looking better, they give you reason to believe they're not quite there yet. And Tennessee, as we've seen, Alabama don't like Tennessee's spread offense and they can't deal with it. It's all about whether Tennessee's defense can hang, but it's tough. Alabama going to win this one, or are Tennessee going to shock them?
I've doubted Alabama a few times already this season. I've doubted DeBoer and they've proved me wrong. And Ty Simpson, he looks really good right now. Vols upset.
Ooh, I've gone Alabama, so we've finally diverged on one. I'm on the Kalen
I think if
DeBoer
Pacquiao is
train.
going to get a big career-defining win, so I suppose this has got to be it.
Yeah, indeed. Brent agrees with me, so, we're going crazy here. Brent goes, chances of my LSU pick to win the SEC. Hey, it's in play. They need Tamu to screw up, but Tamu always screw up, so it's in play, Brent. Don't you worry about that. Arizona at Houston. Pick this one because it's kind of one of those middling Big 12 ones, which there's no designated winner here whatsoever. Houston are currently 5-1 on the year, but Arizona have shown in recent weeks that there is part of their former self back in there, and they're not as bad as people have been made out to believe. Maybe they're 4-2. Their offense has kind of come to life in recent weeks. Who do you have in the battle of Big 12 mediocrity? Well, I say mediocrity. Houston having a damn good year, but Arizona's a big banana skin for them potentially. I've gone Houston for the record.
Arizona upset.
Going for Arizona. There we go. And then the last one for the pick watch. Number 25, Nebraska, on the road to mile markers Golden Gophers of Minnesota. And instantly I'm picking the upset because I know
that kind of game Nebraska should lose.
I know Nebraska will lose this. I'm absolutely sure. But will they? Maybe they'll shock us. You ready to believe in them one last time?
No. Give me Minnesota.
I've got Minnesota as well. Go Gophers. That one's for you, mile marker. And that is the pick watch. There's been a few games already this week. Liberty beat New Mexico State 30-27. Arkansas State beat South Alabama 15-14, and Florida International beat Western Kentucky 25-6. We got Sam Houston at home to UTEP tonight, and Delaware on the road to Jacksonville State as CUSA midweekers are starting. In terms of the other ranked ones we have not mentioned, Ohio State on the road to Wisconsin. How low is the predictability of an upset there?
Impossible.
Less than 0?
Yeah.
I feel like we should make a forfeit for if Wisconsin win. What
Genuinely feels like he's going to be like a 55-10 or something.
We need a forfeit if Wisconsin win. Like we've got to. I don't know. We'll have to think of think of a forfeit. Miami of Florida are at home to Louisville. Don't see an upset there. Number 3 Indiana at home to Michigan State. No. Just no. What that front seven's going to do to Aiden Childs, you'd have to censor it. That probably can't be shown live on TV. Tamu are on the road to Arkansas. This feels like the game that Tamu will lose because Arkansas nearly beat Tennessee and Tamu are unbeaten. They've got to lose to somebody eventually.
It's the kind of game they would lose.
What's Tamu's schedule to the end of the year? Let me have a look. So they are Arkansas this week. Oh, then they've got LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, and Texas. Ooh.
Random Samford. Just like...
They've got LSU at home next week. They've got Arkansas at home this week, LSU next week. LSU, and then they've got Missouri at home. They've got a very fortuitous run at... Or are they away? Are they away? Oh, they're away at Arkansas. They're on the road. And then they're on the road in Death Valley. So they got actually a bad look away. Are we seeing the Razorbacks can upset them? at home.
I think they could upset them, yeah.
There's potential there for sure. Texas Tech on the road to Arizona State. I don't even need to ask you this one, do I?
It don't matter who's quarterback. Texas Tech are going to destroy them.
If Arizona State,
He's probably in your best fortune. If Levitt's got a foot injury, why would you put him in front of David Bailey?
no, you wouldn't, would you? Just
Jeff Sims get murdered.
just like out of Gladiator where
That's
he puts
gonna
the
be
thumbs
another
down. He puts the
It's going to be
thumbs
another
down.
35, 40 point margin. It's going to be chaos. They'll get battered.
Oregon playing Rutgers. Don't really see out going off there. Virginia ranked 18th. Good for them. They've got Washington State. I mean, who knows? Washington State played like that. They could take them down. Memphis have got UAB. I have never been more sure in my life there is not an upset on the cards there. Army playing Tulane. Ooh, that could be feisty. Reckon the Black Knights have been good recent weeks. I'm sure Brent's got them beating Tulane.
Yeah, they've been good. Like I say, that should be a potential high scoring game.
Could be.
It's two high five-powered offenses.
Could be indeed.
Michigan, Washington.
I was gonna put that in the pick watch, but I don't know. It's at the big house. That's making me think that Michigan might win it. I don't know if Washington can go to the big house, and last time they went there, they got absolutely mullered.
Like I say, but is Washington's run defense good enough? Will Justice hit bounce back?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think Michigan are going to win that, but I could be wrong. I like Washington more, so I hope they do. Missouri are on the road to Auburn. Like, if Missouri's season was going to come apart, I could see them losing that.
Yeah, that's a trap game.
I think they're on massive upset alert there. South Florida are playing Florida Atlantic. I can't see them having problems with that. South Florida have done the they've done the Florida Triangle this year. Texas are on the road to Kentucky. Ooh. That screams Kentucky getting some sort of a result there against Texas. Been that bad.
It won't surprise me if, like, say, Cutter Bowler has like the best game ever.
Yeah, Lisa goes, Georgia better win this week and they look bad last week. Yeah, they need to put a statement hammer down on somebody because they're not there at all. Cincinnati on the road to Oklahoma State. Maybe. That screams trap game for Cincy, who've done so well this year. UCLA versus Maryland. That could low-key be a good game. Malik Washington versus Nico Eamali-Evu.
I'm taking UCLA there all day.
That could be a very good win. And then Penn State are playing Iowa. That could be 4 in a row.
I think I will definitely give Penn State a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Gronowski in recent weeks has not been good.
Yeah, no, not at all. Right. I think that is there any other games you want to mention, or are you about there?
About there. If we get the first, think in a week or two we get the first FCS rankings. We'll have 2 official rankings this year towards the playoffs.
We will, and we will deep down into that. And that is all for us today. Sorry, it's been a massive show. Appreciate you all being with us. But of course, we've done the half-season mocks, and this is a massive week coming up, so we had to chat about it.
How many coaches do we think get fired this week?
Ooh, let's have
on the next show.
Let's have a competition. 4. What about you?
6.
I think 6. Fickle's a goner. Whoever's at UMass is a goner. Napier's a goner. Unless they win somehow, but no chance with that. Who else is under pressure?
Hugh Freeze.
If Auburn get absolutely twonked by Missouri, I'm saying at least 4. So, yeah, that could be interesting. We'll do. So Ryan's got 6, I've got 4. We'll see. Back in a week, we'll see who's right with that. But I think a lot of head coaches are due to go down this week. So, yeah, could be very intriguing. Lisa goes, thank you, Anthony. I'm picking my dogs. Of course you are, and I don't blame you in the slightest. But yeah, as I say, thank you for sticking with today's pack show and one that was cut off by an internet connection early. Apologise about that. But yeah, we appreciate you as always. Next show's Next Lions podcast will be tomorrow. It is the Bucks preview, so join us for that one. We've got a member of Bucks UK coming on with us. Hopefully I need to chat with him when I've done the show, but yeah, that should be good. In terms of the college stuff, we will do another college watch along this weekend. I will be live streaming for the Holy War, Utah at BYU, because there's a ton of intriguing draft prospects in this one, and of course it's one of the most fiercely contested games of the season. So if you want, join me for that. We will be we'll watch the BYU Utah game together. I might do one from the mid slate, we'll see where we're at, but that is in the late slate at 1 a.m. our time, 8 p.m. your time, so join me for that one there. And then of course me and Ryan will be back next Wednesday going over what will be, I think this is going to be a massive weekend. We will have a lot to discuss, so we will get to that. But yeah, appreciate you all. Lisa, Brent, Mark, all of you in the building with us. Thank you ever so much. We shall see you again soon. Don't forget, type in Royal Lions UK. You will find us there. One pride.